They were no longer little girls. They became little women.
Welcome to SinCast, presented by CinemaSins.
Everybody, welcome to the SinCast. This is Chris Atkinson from CinemaSins, joined as always by the voice of CinemaSins, Jeremy Scott.
I'm here.
Yep, Jeremy's here. And from and from Music Video Sins, Barrett Scher.
Present.
And today we're going to continue on our road trip to Massachusetts.
On the road again.
The most time-honored tradition of all, the road trip. Oh, the places you'll go.
Are we there yet?
No.
Are we there yet?
No.
Are we there yet?
No.
Yeah, this is exciting.
Massachusetts.
I love me some Massachusetts set movies. Like when I was going through this list, I was like, not only have I seen that, but I like that one. I like that one too.
Are we seeing more based there because of the emergence of Matt Damon and Ben Affleck over the years, or do you think that it's just
I think it's a combination of that's definitely part of it, because you have to throw in everybody who's Boston's, like Dennis Lehane. A lot of his books are set in Boston, and that when they get adapted by whether it's Ben Affleck, who did do one of them, or whoever did Mystic River, who I can't remember. I think it was Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood, yeah.
It's a Boston set movie that has prominence.
All right, so let's start off, because we're doing this alphanumerically and everything,
That's
with
right.
21.
Yeah.
Didn't they whitewash the shit out of this? Are we talking about the poker movie?
Yeah.
In real life, weren't they all Asian?
Oh,
I just read this 2 days ago.
Okay. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I just read this 2 days ago that in the book, the real life students the book and movie are based on were almost
I will
all
say
Asian.
this. I read the book, and I do not remember that being an issue in the book.
I love how perplexed you guys were. Watch me be wrong. I swear to God.
The race-based controversy arose over the decision to make the majority of the characters white Americans, even though the main players.
I didn't like
No.
not believe you. I had to think about it for a while because I read Bringing Down the House. It's a great book, and it's kind of like when you read Moneyball, and it gets. And I love the movie Moneyball, but man, when the movie simplify so much of the math, and they have to, that it loses a lot in the translation. And I felt like 21 definitely did, because going through all that training of like counting the cards and all that, that's the fun part for me. And there's moments where they go like a little bit too far with the way they play and everything, but it's like gambling, man. That gets you.
Mm-hmm.
But like for me, reading that book was about the training that they went through. They can look at a little stack of cards and tell you how many cards are in that stack.
Yeah,
just by looking at it. And they had a great system by they see how many cards had come out. They have a mental number in their head of what that deck's value is and how to bet it. Crazy great stuff. But 21, the movie.
Did you not like it?
I didn't like it.
I wonder how much reading the book actually influenced that, because
it could be something like that.
Yeah, because I found it. Yes, you're right. They have to go through like kind of a Rain Man type of montage of them training and then figuring out the equations and all that shit. But I thought it was very enjoyable. I really liked that Time to Pretend opening too.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like the greatest.
Oh yeah,
The what?
They use the Time to Pretend music. They
do. It's very. That may be. I don't think the movie's good at all, but I like it. I like watching it.
Yeah.
Spacey's, complicated now, but in the movie, he's typically great, as he usually is, as being sort of the asshole boss. Mm-hmm. And I think the cast, except for Kate Bosworth, who feels so out of place. Yeah. But the cast is really good. His two nerd buddies that he abandons from MIT to go pursue this. I can't think of his name. It's the iceberg snowman from Frozen. God damn it.
Josh Gad?
Josh Gad is in this movie.
Iceberg.
I think this is the first time I ever saw Josh Gad.
Yeah.
And they have a fun arc, and I don't know. It's just it's one of those breezy stories.
I agree.
It's one of those mini movies that Jim Sturgis has been in that just felt like they're trying to make this guy a star, but he keeps getting these forgettable movies.
Yep.
I feel like Sturgis is one of those guys who's like good looking enough and like has enough talent to have become like a big guy. He's always in these forgettable movies.
He is.
And every time he shows up, I'm like, who's that again? Oh, yeah. His name is something. It's got like 2 S's on the end of the, and then you're like an hour later, you're like, Jim Sturgis.
Yeah, I found it watchable. I don't think it's good by any measure. I can't recommend it. But.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Then there's Altered States, movie I saw very recently.
Oh, really?
I saw it like last year or so.
That's awesome. Because I love this movie.
Oh, okay.
How do the effects hold up? I haven't seen it in forever. It's a 1980 movie.
I don't remember being offended by them in any way. I thought the movie was interesting for the first 2/3 or so, and then like the last third, I wasn't too excited about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't like the sort of the third act of that movie.
It's interesting conceptually.
Yeah.
And again, it's been a while since I've seen it, so I don't know if they really translated it.
Mm-hmm.
But the concept of it, it was written by this guy that it had the screenplay that was super like obscure. He devolves into like protoplasm or something like that, and that's why I was asking about the effects. But it's a really interesting story, and I remember really, really liking the movie too. This is William Hurt, like a fairly early role for him. It's first role for Drew Barrymore.
Oh yeah.
It's interesting.
No, I mean, I liked it from what I saw until like that last third, like I said, but like is it a sensory deprivation tank that he keeps going into? And he keeps seeing all these, visions and everything. As someone who actually recently went into sensory deprivation tank, I can tell you I had nothing of the sort of a kind of experience like this.
Did you do that?
Yeah, I did.
No shit.
Yeah.
I thought you were around when I was talking to him about it. Maybe you weren't.
No.
There's one close to, it's in Berry Hill.
Huh.
And I went there and experienced it, man. And you're in there for like an hour. And I was like, sort of just like, okay, I'm just going to relax. I'm going to be, there's a lot of little weird things you got to do before you go in there, though. You got to, I don't know, you got to shower first. That's right. Not weird. But like you got to do a lot of other little things too before you get in the little water or whatever. But
you have to count from 100 to 1 backwards.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So strange.
Have you done this too?
No.
Oh.
No.
So strange. No.
You didn't have any visions or anything like that?
No.
Interesting.
Now, I mean, other people may have that type of experience, but I didn't.
You should do more drugs.
I should.
Yeah.
I should. But that's an interesting movie.
Yeah, it is.
It's a very interesting movie. I'd so go on the recommend side for that, though.
Yeah.
Then there's Amistad. Is this one of those movies that you sort of fit under a category of important but not good?
Yeah.
Right?
Is it not good? I saw it when it came. I saw it in the
it's
theaters.
Okay.
Right.
There's only got me like 3 movies in this entire category, though.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm going to try and think of what the other ones are. You're right, though, because it's not good, but it is important.
It's one of those where like, this is we need to know about this story. And then you're like, man, this is below the level of Spielberg.
Yeah.
And this was in that era where he was like just a madman. He did Lost World the same year, and I think basically what Spielberg would do was he would make something like Jurassic Park, The Lost World, or whatever, and then he'd have his editing team go off and do that while I'm going to go ahead and start shooting Amistad while you go and do that. Yeah. And then they have it in the can, so it seems like he did like 2 that same year, but it's really kind of distanced out and everything. And then right after that, he does Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, that's crazy.
There's like 3 in that 18-month period.
Jeez.
Or 12 months. It was a 12-month period.
Really?
Yeah. Because Saving Private Ryan came out the summer. Came out the summer of 98. Anyway, what Amistad brought us to Jaimin Honsu, and I'm sorry for the mispronunciation because I've heard a million different
Thank
ways.
God it did, though, because I feel like he's great. We had that scene, I think it was in that stupid Tarzan movie,
Yeah.
where it's time for films to stop wasting this guy, because even in that movie, he's acting the shit out of his stuff, even though he knows he's got to know he's in this terrible piece of garbage, but he still brings his A game every time, and
Yeah.
he keeps getting cast in like Henchman in the Island, Henchman in Guardians of the Galaxy, and he's a great actor.
Mm-hmm.
Just watch Blood Diamond, and that should be all you need
He's
to convince
great
you.
in Blood
He's
Diamond.
phenomenal. He almost shows up Leo in that movie.
It's also Chiwetel Ejiofor is in this, right? Well, everybody's in this movie.
Yeah, you have
And
McConaughey, Anthony Hopkins, Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people in this. But I haven't seen it in a long time. It's never been.
I remember
saw
it
it-
having a great score, a John Williams score.
Yeah, it does.
One that almost like superseded the movie itself.
I think so. I think that was one of the main things about that movie was that like every dramatic moment has this John Williams score coming in and like this is how you're supposed to feel, damn it.
Hitting you over the head. God damn it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll revisit Amistad at some point and be like, yeah, maybe I gave this, maybe it was a little short-sighted with this one, but again, there are very few movies that are important but not good.
I'm telling you, that's all I can think about right now. Like, I want to do a whole podcast where we try and figure out all the movies that fit that category. Like, that's a whole topic, is us throwing them out and debating them.
I'm sure that Charlie Sheen 9/11 movie fits.
Oh,
under
my
that.
God.
See, no, I don't think that even counts.
It may not.
But I might put something like
World Trade
not even
Center.
World Trade Center, because it's definitely not good, but I don't know if it's important because you can get the importance from other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that documentary that one they run every 9/11 that's just fantastic. And there's World Trade Center has nothing on that. So, anyway, moving on.
Then there is Black Mass. Oh, hated this movie.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I need reminding. Is this Jet Li?
No, this is Johnny Depp as Whitey.
The movie you're thinking of is Black Mask,
Well, that's actually what I thought you said.
but this is Black Mass. This is the this is the Johnny Depp
Whitey Bulger.
Whitey Bulger.
I
movie.
watched this. It's worse than the one he made with Christian Bale.
Yeah, the
Public
Enemy.
Enemy.
It's worse than that.
Yeah, it like
what is up with this fucking movie, man? It's again like Public Enemies. It is a slam dunk.
I feel like he's good at it,
He is.
but I don't feel like the movie is good at all.
Hmm.
Like I remember coming out of that just going, I just don't know what is going on in this movie. Like I don't know who, like I don't get a sense of what Whitey Bulger's into, like what his real law breaking activities are, because for the most part he's just in there denying that he does this stuff.
Mm.
And it's from it's not really from his perspective, which I feel like is a loss for the
that's
movie.
weird.
Is that right? Isn't that how you remember it? It's
Yeah.
not really from Whitey Bulger's perspective, which I feel like that could have made it a lot better, so that, you could see like what he's up to, what he's doing. And then when he starts like denying and all this other and throwing blame on other people and all that, then it would make a little bit more sense. But I haven't seen it since I saw it in the theater or whatever, so I could be completely off. I just felt like I remember coming out of that going, yeah, I think he did drugs or something. He sold drugs.
I came out of it thinking I was bored.
Yeah.
That's all I really remember
Yeah.
is that it bored me, and that's a shame because the subject matter and the actor should be enough to
It's crazy.
whip up some kind of spark.
And that's I believe that's what Nicholson's character is based on in The Departed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like a fictional version of Whitey Bulger. Yeah,
Yeah.
There's almost no reason to make a Whitey Bulger movie after The Departed.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
Then there's another Johnny Depp movie called Blow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Remember when the I think it was the same year Blow and Snatch both came out? And I also remember David Letterman. I was randomly watching a David Letterman when I was like, it's like, there's a movie coming out, Paul. It's called Blow. he's like, what does that remind me of? I don't know. There was another movie that had sort of a name like that. And it's like, and Paul's like, I don't know. He's like, oh yeah, I know what it was. It was Snatch. And then
Oh my God. This is I don't know really how much I like this movie. I watch it pretty much every time it's on. But it's It's not
I
great.
think it's developed a bit of a cult following over
Yeah.
the years. Ted Demme did this movie, and I believe he ended up dying because of the subject of this movie.
Oh.
Paul Rubens?
Yes, Paul Rubens.
Paul Rubens is diabolical in this movie, and he's really, really good.
Yeah, I saw it once and I was underwhelmed. This is a lot like the Black Mass we were just talking about, in the sense that all I really remember is being a little bored and that Pee Wee Herman was in it.
Well, it's long.
and Vera Farmiga, I think. Or no, it's not. Is it? And it's not Vera Farmiga. It's
Penelope Cruz is in it.
well, Penelope Cruz is in it, but
No, it's James.
Rachel Griffiths plays his mom.
Oh, yeah.
And Rachel Griffiths is like 7 years older, maybe,
Oh,
or
wow.
maybe even younger than
She's younger.
She's
I looked
younger
this up.
than Johnny Depp. Yeah.
They age her up a little bit. Ray Liotta's fine in this. It's not a bad movie. You should probably watch it once. It'd be interesting.
The poster for this was just a pure sheer mirror.
Oh
basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's clever,
Yeah.
I guess.
I remember being excited for this movie.
Yeah.
And then I watched it.
Yeah.
And
that happens a lot.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
Should have never done that.
Fucking cocaine, man. It's a hell of a drug.
Blown away. This is when Tommy Lee Jones was in every fucking movie in the world. 1994, he was in at least 5 movies. And this was one of them.
This was.
And he has a terrible Irish accent.
Oh,
it's
boy.
really bad.
Oh,
it's really
boy.
bad.
He's a crazy ass motherfucker in this movie, though. There's a point where he's like talking on the phone to Jeff Bridges, I think, and he's jumping on the bed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's like he saw Speed
Yeah.
and said, I can be more unhinged than that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's basically Speed, Irish Speed.
Although Speed came out the same year, but
Okay.
but considering how bad it is, I wouldn't doubt that they saw Speed and
made it in a month.
and then made it months later.
It's still like a madman with bombs who has a vendetta against a specific cop and keeps taunting him. Just watch Speed. You'll
Yeah.
have a much better day. There's nothing, unless you really want to learn about bouncing Betty landmines, which is, that's in here.
Yeah.
But the internet is also probably available to you, and you just Wikipedia
Holy
that
shit. 3 weeks later, this movie came out.
Oh shit.
So Speed came out June 10th, 1994, and this one came out July 1st.
Oh, wow.
Fuck.
Well, that's also probably why nobody ever saw this movie then, because Speed was a juggernaut.
Yeah.
Man. I bet this movie came and went, and people were like, I saw Speed 7 times. I didn't even know that movie came out.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Then, okay. The Boondock Saints.
Oh, boy.
What do you think of this movie?
Stylistic and nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
I was fine with it, but I was not prepared to see like the cult following that it has, and it's huge.
It is.
I'll tell you what, I had never heard of this movie until like way after its release, and people started talking about it, and I was like, and I started getting tired of it. I like it's one of those type of movies where like, hey, you seen the Boondock Saints? And I'm like, I know for a fact that I'm not going to like this movie now because the character of people who like this. No, I'm just kidding. It's just one of those. It's one of those. Yeah, I eventually saw it and I was like, yeah, style, a lot of style.
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't really like it at all. I can see the appeal of it, though.
I mean, it's slick. It's a lot of hero shots. It's your boy Norman Reedus, right?
It's my boy.
Your
Yeah.
boy,
My
your
boy, because I am the champion.
and then you have
Walking Dead.
Is it? It's
Sean
Patrick
Sean
Flannery.
Patrick Flannery. Powder.
and Willem Dafoe.
yeah, Willem
He wasn't Powder, was he?
Yeah, Sean Patrick Flannery was Powder.
Anyway, I think what it is, I think the vigilantism is part of what people tap into that are part of this cult that loves this.
Mhm.
Because I think there's a certain element of taking back my neighborhood that is wish fulfillment for a lot of people.
Mhm.
And then there's also sort of that it has that kind of done on a budget indie vibe. And our brains always tend to give those kind of films a little more credit,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because we're like, well, you only shot that for $8,000.
Well,
That's fucking amazing given that. And
There-
so I think that's some of
It's
it.
also the subject of a documentary called Overnight, which I've never seen. But the guy who wrote and directed this had his vision of it, and apparently he was just a real fucking asshole about it. Problem is, he was rubbing up against Harvey Weinstein, who is an even bigger asshole.
He usually rubs up against you.
Wow.
That's true.
Quick.
That's
Quick.
true. But like, that's the thing is that apparently he had this, I don't know, 2-hour or something opus or whatever he wanted to make. And this is how, and see now that every Harvey nickname is going to have some fucking connotation to it, right? But this is how he got Harvey Scissorhands. The nickname of Harvey Scissorhands is cutting up movies and trying to get them shorter and all that for theatrical release. And apparently that's what he ended up doing to this. Cut the fuck out of it.
Interesting.
So it could be one of those things where I might like the longer version of it if it's out there.
Yeah.
Who knows if it is?
AKA the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, the Snyder Cut. Indeed.
One of my favorite things from the internet this week has been the super uber DC nerds angrily demanding AT&T release the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, man.
Justice
Oh, my
League
God.
because AT&T bought Warner.
Jesus.
There you go. There you go. This is a completely rational thing for people to do.
Oh my God! And not to mention, I mean, forget about the fact that Snyder Cut doesn't even exist by all accounts. But anyway, I both love and hate today.
Yeah. I'm assuming that Boondock Saints 2 was also based, and that movie, there's no debate how bad that one is.
I think
you seen
even
it?
People who love the first one think
Piece
the
of
second
shit.
one is terrible.
The second one is a piece of shit.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, so don't watch that. Then there's a Celtic Pride. Fuck.
I have nothing to. I saw this movie.
I did too.
I have nothing
Isn't
to offer.
Daniel Stern in it?
is,
Yeah, Dan Aykroyd.
Daniel Stern's
Aykroyd.
arguably the lead in this movie.
Yeah. I don't remember anything about it
Somebody
at all.
gets kidnapped.
They kidnapped Damon Wayans, who was a player on the
Celtics.
Jazz.
The Jazz.
So and they
How do you know
kidnap
this
him,
much? Did you watch this recently? You own this
fairly
movie?
recently.
Oh,
I
What?
caught it. Like I
How?
caught it on HBO or Stars
Well,
or
I
something
didn't know.
like
I
that.
didn't know it was a possibility of catching it. Anyway.
Seriously, why would any network pay to run this
It
film?
must have been late at night, but yeah, they kind of they kidnap him and he misses a game against the Celtics, and he's the Jazz's best.
And by
player.
the way, European listeners, yes, it's Celtics in this context. I
It's
don't want
not
to hear
the
some
Celtics.
bullshit about it being Celtic or whatever. This is the
Yeah, it's just
NBA
one of
team.
those, we screwed it up a long time ago, and we're not going to go back.
Fucking-
when it comes
fucking
to sports,
Boston.
it's the sea.
God, this is a terrible movie.
Let's move on.
A civil action. I saw this. This is pretty good.
Oh,
Yeah, it is.
John Travolta, Robert
Robert
Duvall.
Duvall?
Yeah.
It's pretty good if you like 2.5-hour sloggy dramas about class action lawsuits over contaminated ground.
Well,
Did you like Aaron Brockovich?
Well, that's what I was about to say.
No, I mean it's okay. I have a couple nominees for movies that are important but not good. I think Aaron Brockovich is actually entertaining because it gives us more of a portrait of a person. The one thing I did like about Civil Action is the portrayal of his obsession, Travolta's, in that it essentially bankrupts his law firm, everyone around, because William H. Macy's in this, I think.
Yeah.
One of his partners, everybody just mortgages everything. They throw everything into this. And, they eventually win, and all the families hate him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Because
came out-
they got like $100,000 and his law firm got millions,
Yeah.
and nobody wins. Anyway,
Yeah, it came out a year before Aaron Brockovich, and it's funny that a civil action actually talks about how the law firm gets the most of the money because Aaron Brockovich don't tell you that.
Exactly.
right.
And it's like, we're a champion of the people. I know everybody's fucking numbers, and I'm talking to them every day. And screw you, you're not getting any money out of this. Then there's Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
This was on yesterday,
Oh, yeah?
and I cannot get into this movie.
Why not?
This was my third attempt, and I don't know. I don't know what it is. It may just be coincidental and circumstantial, but for 3 times now I've tried, and every time I'm like, is there a rerun of Seinfeld anymore?
No, I think I understand why, because Clooney directed this one,
Yep.
right? It's edited oddly. Everything about this is another slam dunk. It's Chuck Barris. It's Sam Rockwell. There's an amazing cast in this. Clooney's in it for a hot second, and he's directing. But the way it's cut is not necessarily purely cinematic. I mean, I think you could have wrung more out of the story itself. It seems rushed. So I do understand. I'd really like this movie though.
I'd like to get through it. I'd like to give it a shot, but I have to be enjoying what I'm watching to settle for 2 hours or something.
you can say that Sam Rockwell is really good at it.
It was clear that he was giving a good performance.
I haven't seen this since it came out, and it's one of those movies that I intend to revisit one of these days. But I can't really add much to the conversation at all.
It's worth watching. This may have been Clooney's first directing gig, or at least feature.
It was either like his first or second, I think.
Yeah, so there's a few things that you can tell are almost clumsy or rushed or something like that, but overall, I really like it.
Yeah, it is. Then Good Night and Good Luck came.
That's the only other one I thought it could have been. So yeah.
Then there is The Covenant.
I don't know.
You mentioned this in a recent podcast, didn't you?
This is one of the worst movies of the millennium.
I've never. What is it?
Okay, so it's about a bunch of like warlocks or whatever who are about to turn 18. And that's where they have all this power and everything, and apparently they get more power when they turn 18.
It's like the male version of The Craft.
Yeah, it's a male version of The Craft.
Well, then
and there's one of their buddies or whatever wants all the power or some shit. I don't remember the exact plotting, but it's that basically. it's once they turn 18, it's kind of one of these. And it's one of those movies, I've discussed this before, like movies have a very hard time discussing how much power someone has. And then when you see all the things that they can do, how more power might help them in any way.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those type of things where you're like, God, I just saw you in your car and your car exploded and you were able to get the car to piece back together and you were able to drive it down the road. So what can you not do at that point?
Yeah. You need more.
Yeah.
More power.
Give me more. Give me more.
more. That's 2 episodes in a row.
Yes.
Like The Covenant is almost Wreck-A-Warn because it's so horrible. It's so bad. So yeah, we don't need to talk too much about it. The Crucible.
Talk about a movie getting lost to time.
Yeah.
This is a very, very good movie.
Who directed this movie?
Nicholas Heitner.
Yeah. And I can't remember what else he did.
He does mostly stage plays.
Oh, okay.
But it was really closely like monitored by Arthur Miller, who wrote the book, who wrote the play, and one of the best Daniel Day-Lewis performances that nobody ever talks about.
Is this the one with the Winona Ryder?
Yep.
Yes.
And who's the lady?
Joan Allen.
Joan Allen.
And then you have Paul Schofield plays one of the judges in it.
And Christina Ricci is the ghost.
Yes, indeed. And Christian Bale's in it somehow. But no, yeah, it is, especially at the end with the whole, why do you have to take my name?
Yeah.
And all that.
Leave me my name.
I can just only imagine Daniel Day-Lewis was probably impenetrable to talk to during that scene.
He was in a fever pitch at the point.
Yeah.
I imagine most of that whole production he was probably difficult to talk to.
I would imagine so. He's great though. I love how there's a scene, I can't really quite describe it though, where they're talking about the rules of the Bible, and he knows as a Christian person that he needs to believe in all these type of things, but the way he talks about it, you realize he's lost that a long time ago. And he puts up a good face, but you can always tell when somebody is like not really into a thing, and people just kind of accept the stuff at face value a lot of times, and he does that in a sort of just a way that's like, wow, that's an underrated part of acting. I feel like, because he could have done that in a convincing way, and you would be like, oh, well, he's really good at putting up a good face, but this guy isn't very good at that or whatever. But yeah, The Crucible, really, really good.
All about the Salem witch trials and all that stuff, and people getting just a tremendously odd time in our history where anybody could get. I want to be cautious about this.
I was going to say, I don't know if it's that odd. I think it repeated several times in our history.
Well, as far as burning people at the stake,
that
literally.
is definitely.
Where you literally, like Joan Allen does to Winona Ryder in this, where you can point to somebody and say, I've witnessed Goody, whatever it is.
Goody Proctor.
Goody Proctor dancing with the devil or something like that. And Boom. That's
Yep,
it.
It's it. Reputation gone.
In
You are
life,
burning.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very like I think you're right. I was making fun of you earlier, but executing is what makes this unique because later on we get McCarthyism, very much the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's a commie. Now they're blacklisted.
Well, isn't the Crucible based on that?
Oh yeah.
I think it's based on the McCarthyism, right?
Oh, you mean he wrote it as to parallel that?
Yes.
I see. Well,
I
maybe,
didn't
but then
realize
we
that.
certainly also burned women accused of being witches.
Yeah.
Back in real history.
It's sort of one of those where they hide the real story behind
I see.
the story that it's really based on.
Interesting.
Yeah, that actually makes a ton of sense.
Actually, I kind of want to watch it again in that context. I've seen the play.
I mean, now this is Wikipedia, but I know I've heard this other than from Wikipedia and everything. Crucible is a 1953 play by American playwright Arthur Miller. It is dramatized and partially fictionalized story of the Salem witch trials that took place in the Massachusetts Bay Colony during 1692 and 93. Miller wrote the play as an allegory for McCarthyism. When the United States government ostracized people for being communists, Miller himself was questioned by a House of Representatives Committee of on Un-American Activities in 1956 and convicted of contempt of Congress for refusing to identify others present at meetings he had attended.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know, man.
God.
Yeah, that's what that's all about, right?
That's great to learn that that's an allegory for that period of time, and you can apply it to many different eras of American history. But that gives it a subtext that I want to watch it again.
Yeah.
Well, and it doesn't even have to be. You don't even have to have that knowledge to be able to enjoy.
Oh, sure.
The Crucible on just face value because it's that good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
then there's The Departed.
Yes.
we probably talked about this enough.
Yeah, I think so.
That movie's Boston as fuck.
It is, although I think some of it was actually shot in New York for Boston.
Oh, really?
Because Scorsese, he can't resist. But yeah, it is Boston as fuck overall.
I was actually thinking on my drive here if we had to pick one movie to call the most Boston movie, this would be on the short list.
Oh yeah.
You
For
can
sure.
you can make a couple arguments for a couple other movies that we'll probably get to talking about here, but this would be on the short list.
When you can get Alec Baldwin to fashion his Boston accent, you got
the
a Boston
violence, the cussing.
Well, I'm going to go have a smoke. You want to smoke? You don't smoke. You're a fitness guy. Go fuck yourself.
Alec Baldwin's
The cast,
fucking hilarious in this.
everyone's awesome.
A lot of people don't trust a perfect record. I do. I had a perfect record. And it's like so I hope you have a woman. What was he say? I hope you're having sex regularly.
Yeah.
Something like that. And he's like, oh yeah, big time. He's like, I'm very glad to hear that.
which is hilarious that Matt Damon has that line because he's also got it in Good Will Hunting where he's like, I have been laid before. Big time.
Yeah. Then there's I hate to be short shrift of The Departed, but I think we have talked about it a bunch. But then there's The Equalizer.
Yeah, right.
Having a sequel this summer.
The Sequelizer.
The Sequelizer.
Ah, nice.
They should call it that.
They
I'm
should.
telling you right now, just go full cheese.
Yeah.
No, they won't.
Yeah.
I like The Equalizer. It's just it's about as unnecessary as a decent movie can get.
This is a revenge story too, or not revenge. He's like a hitman, right?
Yeah, but he sees the Chloe Grace Moretz, who's an underage prostitute, like having I don't remember what he sees.
He just sees her at a diner,
and he sees her getting picked up,
Yeah.
and he's like, "That's not cool." And so, yeah, that's where he starts all that revenge.
It's
stuff.
basically Home Depot, Home Alone for the second half.
came out-
and that's kind of fun.
Well, it came out same year as John Wick, and I think it had a lot of comparisons to that same type of story. You know,
Did it really?
I think so.
It seems like this is an older movie. That's crazy.
No,
yeah,
it
but
came out the
yeah,
same
you're right.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I would watch this over. This is basically when Denzel said, "Give me my Taken."
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Right? I want my version of Taken, and it's way better than Taken.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Like, even the first Taken?
Taken is okay. Have you seen the first one recently?
Yeah, actually, you're right.
I think we give that phone speech. That phone speech imbues the movie with more quality than it really has. And this is a much more solid story. Denzel's always enjoyable.
Yeah,
It's just-
especially when he's in this mode where it's
Yeah.
like, I'm just going to be a badass
Mm-hmm.
and just kill everything.
Like Man
he
on
kills
it's
everything.
Like Man
in
on
this.
Fire, non-Mexican Man on Fire.
Yeah.
By the way, I told you I showed Game Night to my wife for the
Yeah,
first
you
time.
didn't tell me
last
what you
night.
thought.
She loved it. But the most hilarious part of it is the dude's impersonation of Denzel, and not the guy who's mistaken for Denzel, like the main character in the movie. When he's like, he's affecting Denzel.
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it is.
I love that movie.
Then there's the Evil Dead remake.
Did you see
Never
this?
saw it.
I did. Yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I seem to remember liking something about this movie though, and I just can't.
They didn't have any of the humor or the camp in this, right?
No, it didn't. Although the first Evil Dead doesn't really have.
Right.
It's not until Evil Dead 2 where you really get that. But
Did it maybe have any?
I don't think so. It does have a woman I find pretty cute, is Jane Levy or Jane Levy,
Oh yeah.
who was on Suburbicon.
Suburbicon,
Yeah, it's Suburgatory.
Suburgatory.
Not to be confused with Jane Leaves from Frasier.
No, that's right. But she's in it, and I remember the ending being I guess kind of cool. I think the ending was kind of cool to this movie, but overall, it's one of those movies you're just like, please don't remake this unless you're planning on doing Evil Dead 2 through and beyond type stuff. And they tried to make this straight up horror, and I'm like, I don't know.
If you're gonna do straight up horror, just do something else.
Yeah, I mean, again, we keep saying that, but guys, when you have a property with a name, you're just going to use it. It's the way it goes. I'm not saying it's right. I'm sure there'll be people who come out of the woodwork and say this remake is great, but Fever Pitch.
Is this as bad as we remember it being?
It was based on a Nick Hornby novel that was soccer or football to everybody else, that everybody loves.
Right.
Then they changed it to the Fairley brothers changed it to Boston Red Sox, baseball and everything. And the only real interesting thing to me about this movie is that the Red Sox actually won the World Series while they were shooting it. So they had to change the whole fucking movie for it.
Yeah.
And that's why that was one of the weirdest things. I watched this World Series and I saw the Red Sox win it, and the Fox cameras go over and you see Jimmy Fallon and Drew Barrymore kissing on the field. I did not hear about a movie being shot.
Yeah.
First off, I was like, really? Fallon and Barrymore? Why are they on the field? Why are they allowed there? All that. And I don't remember much about this at all other than that.
It's kind of charming. I mean, Jimmy Fallon at that point, before he did Taxi and all that stuff, and Drew Barrymore, they had a kind of a similar chemistry as Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore back in their heyday. And you can see this is like the Jimmy Fallon that people like the super exuberant, charming type of thing, like super into something, like, the Red Sox.
Yeah.
He's super into it. Like when they get the season tickets, they divide them up and they have this big party, that kind of thing. It's charming. It's not a great movie or anything. But
Okay, I'm going to ask a question, and if I'm right about something, I know why I never saw this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't Jimmy Fallon one of the pair in SNL that did that super obnoxious Boston Red Sox fan sketch?
Yes.
Him
That's
and Rachel
why I never
Dratch.
watched this movie.
Yeah.
Because those sketches were funny for 1 minute.
Yep.
That's it.
Talk about a guy. I just yesterday, Almost Famous was on, and by law I have to watch it. And I was thinking, man, here's another guy, Jimmy Fallon, who I just don't understand. His cameo essentially, and it's not really a cameo then because he wasn't really famous. It was just he comes in.
He was almost famous.
Yeah, exactly. But is so good. It's so good, and it sort of informs you of maybe possibly a bigger career down the line in movies. I don't think how he would trade it for the world at this point because he's probably making way more money the way doing a late night talk show than he would have a movie career. But there's another guy. You see him in Almost Famous, you're like, oh, that guy probably ends up being like really good if it's the only thing you knew about him.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he cameo in Band of Brothers too?
Jimmy Fallon? I wouldn't be surprised because everybody cameoed in Band of Brothers.
Yeah.
Like anytime you look up any actor, they've got Band of Brothers in their credits.
Absolutely right.
Then The Fighter.
The Fighter. Hey, this is a really good movie.
Yeah, David O. Russell.
Yeah.
This
That's another
is really
movie
good.
That's a little lost to time too.
Never saw it.
Oh, really? This is the thing that really stands out. Of course, it's Marky Mark as the fighter, but it's Christian Bale's performance as his brother.
He won the Oscar for it.
It's so fucking great.
Yep.
I think at this point in my life, I was just over boxing movies and over David O. Russell movies. And I have since gone back to watching boxing movies and David O. Russell movies and been burned out on both of them yet again. Because I went and saw Joy and something else, and then I watched all those recent boxing movies, the Jake Gyllenhaal one, the Miles Teller one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm done being moved by them again. I've come full circle yet again. You cannot tell me a story in a boxing movie that I haven't seen done better.
This is more compelling out of the ring for sure than
Yes.
it is in the ring. Matter of fact, I mean, they may have filmed this very truthfully and honestly about the fighting and hitting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
There's very
that's not
little
what I
actual
remember.
boxing in this
Yeah.
movie. But yeah, Christian Bale is amazing in it. I would say, Jeremy, don't judge this one on a David O. Russell or boxing kind of thing.
Good advice.
I would watch it based on just that it's a good character drama.
Mm-hmm.
And, Wahlberg is the main guy in this, but Bale is the guy who steals the whole movie.
Yeah.
Amy Adams is in it, too.
Well, Melissa Leo, too, right?
Yep, Melissa
Yeah,
Leo.
she's
Great.
in every Boston movie.
Yeah, she's in Band of Brothers.
I actually did just confirm Jimmy Fallon does have a cameo.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Then Barrett writes the game plan. Jesus.
When was the last time you saw this?
A long time ago.
Yeah, I need to rewatch this. I saw it once way before I had any affection for The Rock.
This is when he still had hair.
It is.
It may have been one of his first
But something
official
tells
film
me
roles.
this might work
No.
better than we think it does.
Really?
I don't know. I don't know. I need to watch it again.
Yeah. This movie's so generic. I don't know if I've even seen it. I can't even tell you if I saw this movie or not. There were just a load of football, coach or whatever type movies going on at this time, and they've all run together for me.
Well, there's the one about the Cleveland Browns guy, the train or the engine or whatever that movie's called.
What? Oh, I know what you're talking about. Oh shit!
Dennis Quaid's in it, isn't he?
Oh,
They're all
Jesus.
running together. They're all running together.
The train.
His nickname in the NFL when he was really good at running was that's the name of the
Jim
movie.
Brown?
Is it Jim Brown? Well, what was his nickname? The Express.
Oh, The Express.
The movie is The Express.
Ah, okay.
I don't know if that's Jim Brown.
I don't even remember that movie.
this is the
Dennis
point.
Quaid is in it, a drama based on the life of college football hero Ernie Davis.
Ernie Davis.
But he was with the Browns.
There you go. I'm not completely stupid
nice.
today. We Are Marshalls, another one.
And yeah, We Are Marshall. By the way, The Express is about a former Cleveland Browns running back. Rob Brown is the running back, and Clancy Brown is also in this movie. So they decided to get lots of Browns, not part of the NFL team, for this movie.
Perfect.
Then there is The Ghost Writer, which is a really good movie.
That is a really good movie.
This is Roman
Shit.
Polanski.
Oh, I forgot that Polanski
I
did
have
this.
I have skipped this every time because the description makes it sound like Boarsville.
Oh no, it's really, really cool. There's a lot of international intrigue. Pierce
That
Brosnan.
sounds like Boarsville.
No. It's very, very compelling.
So just so you know, I have filed this movie mentally without having seen it. That's in the same place I put that movie with Sean Penn and UN interpreter shit.
Was it just The Interpreter?
The Interpreter.
It's the Interpreter. I have filed this movie in the same category.
No,
of
this
boredom.
is a good movie,
That's
and Ewan
crazy.
McGregor is really great. Matter of fact, his character isn't even named. He's the writer. He's the ghostwriter.
It's
He comes over to write Pierce Brosnan's story, and Pierce Brosnan's story has a lot of skeletons in his closet and things like that. So there are people trying to prevent him from getting a story and trying to compartmentalize it, and it's good.
This was one of those where I had heard good things about it, and then our theater randomly got it. And it was just one of those nights where it was like I was waiting for projectors to get out, and I was like, all right, I'll fire this up and just watch it. And I loved it.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
I need to watch it. All right.
Then Gone Baby Gone.
Oh,
Gone, baby, gone.
We have talked a lot about Gone Baby Gone as well.
I agree. We probably don't need to do too much. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very talkable movie, and it's Boston as fuck.
Yes, it is.
Mhm.
It opens with narration of Casey Affleck just talking about Boston.
Yep.
Mhm.
and it's fantastic.
This is the first time I ever saw Casey Affleck in this light.
I agree.
But I had always just known him as just goofy dude in Good Will Hunting, and he has a random appearance in American Pie, and like just he never showed that he could have this kind of weight.
Or
to-
the Oceans franchise.
Yeah, the Ocean's
Yeah.
movies and all that. So like, it was a big surprise to see him in this, where he's actually like a don't give a fuck type detective and beats ass and all this other type of stuff. But yeah, another movie, by the way, that, by the end of it, has one of the greatest debates that you will ever have with another person.
You were talking about that The Incredibles 2 was an incredibly confident movie. Like Brad Bird knew what he was doing, very confident, very able. This is a very confident movie with Ben Affleck's first directorial
Yes.
effort.
It takes, I think, I think history might show it as one of the best, like, first films of a great director ever. Because you go back, okay, I love me some Dancing with Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
It deserves all the Oscars it won. It's phenomenal. But there are definitely moments in there where you're like, somebody should have taught him a little restraint.
Yeah.
Just a tiny bit, right? Whereas Gone Baby Gone feels like he came into it with that restraint. And the only more confident Affleck movie I've seen is The Town, which is probably later on this list. Even Argo, which won Best Picture, I feel is not as confident as these first two.
Yep.
And it may be that Boston setting that sets him at ease because he does know it so well. I don't know.
And it could just be the Dennis Lehane novel.
Yeah, it could be that too, yep.
That assured as well.
Yeah.
Like, I think you get certain stories, they're so good in general, it's hard to fuck them up.
Right.
And I think this might be one of them, although we've seen that Affleck has way more talent than just getting a great story. And
But also, it's amazing that not only that he didn't want to do like revisionist history to make this more of a period at the end instead of a question mark, but the studio didn't. Like, nobody really said, no, we've really got to have like a Hollywood ending here. They ran with it, and and it's perfect.
yeah. Then there's Good Will Hunting. Have we talked a lot about Good Will Hunting on this podcast?
I could talk about Good Will Hunting like all day. That movie, I first saw this movie in Cardiff, Wales, by the way.
Really?
Yes. That was the first time I saw it. And which was funny because the Unabomber joke went over like a lead balloon because nobody knew who the Unabomber was in Wales. But it must have been after the American release, but I hadn't seen it before. I hadn't even really heard about it before. And so when I went back, I was like, man, you guys got to see this movie. And we all did, and we all ended up loving it. Like, it's just such like a layered performance. And, Robin Williams gives one of the best of his career.
Yeah. I was just thinking, if you told me that history would remember this and no other performances from him, I'd be okay with that. Like, he's that good.
Mm-hmm.
He anchors this. Like, Damon has to be good to make the movie pay off, and he's the lead, but Williams makes that movie sing more than... I don't even think Affleck's particularly great in this movie.
He's just the goofy fucking... Yeah.
Yeah, but if you did not... And I think there's something about having somebody we know as a comedian in this role makes it better. I don't know if that's just a hunch I have, but it sort of plays with your expectations a little bit so that when he is kind of a hard-ass therapist, like, I'll just sit here for an hour and not talk. That's how you want to play it. You're paying more attention maybe to him because of he's not making jokes a mile a minute. He's so subdued.
And then he does get a couple of those moments, like when he's running around, Punch Fisk is in the homer and everything.
Yeah.
No, I didn't go to the fucking game. I was at the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. He does get in some ad lib in this too, where Damon's like, go fuck yourself or whatever, fuck you. And he's like, well, you're the shepherd.
Yeah, exactly.
Or whatever. And that's because that was that whole thing where he's wasting his time by saying, I'd like to go to Nashua and own a farm and tend to sheep and all that. This is great. Although, man, so many rumors about this movie, about what it was before it was this.
Yep.
That it was supposed to be almost like a Bourne movie.
Almost.
Before there was...
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, before there was even any Bourne...
It was going to be like Enemy
movies.
of the State, kind of, where like they're chasing after... The government's chasing after him because his brain can be weaponized somehow. He's that smart.
And it got distilled down to that one
that's
monologue
where,
there, I guess.
That's where Damon and Affleck started.
Oh.
And then there are the rumors that that I can't call black or white any one thing is who exactly shepherded them from that. I think
Yeah.
that's a given, is that they started with a thriller and somebody or more than one somebody shepherded them to this more
Yeah,
human
I
story.
think it might have been Gus Van Sant.
It might have.
And it was, I don't know how they got down to, let's change this from that kind of a thriller to drama about a guy who's really smart but gets in trouble all the time and needs psychology and everything. And then there's a debate as to how much Affleck actually put into the script, and everything, that Damon wrote most of it and all that. Who knows? You know, it's just one of those fun things to talk about. I'm sure it's not fun for Ben Affleck. Yeah, and I think some of this is shot in Toronto as well.
Oh, really?
He shot a lot of Toronto for Boston. But yeah, overall though, Boston is fuck.
This is a like you were saying with Almost Famous. Like if it's on, I'm gravitated to watch the entire thing because there's not a whole lot of wasted scenes in this. It may be a little bit towards the end, but everything is iconic. Where Damon's like, you like classical music, you play the piano, and Minnie Driver's like, I want to talk about this. He's like, hey, this is the best I can describe it. Mozart, he sat down and he could just play. And man, I just love everything about this movie.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Then
Danny Elfman score, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Well, and Elliott Smith music.
Yeah,
This movie
yeah.
is the reason I know who Elliott Smith is, and his life ended tragically, but I'm glad his music made its way into my life because it's good stuff.
Well, and it's also it's got the weird producer credit from Kevin Smith and Scott Mosier and all those guys and everything. And I think that's what later parlays into the joke in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back when they're on the Good Will Hunting 2 set, where Damon's like going through this whole thing. Like, it's kind of like being in a movie because you owe the producer a favor and blah, 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 and it's that type of deal. Then there's Goon. I saw this a couple of years ago, just randomly on Netflix. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And I loved it.
Has a
Did you love it? I
huge
did.
cult following to the point where they made Goon 2.
Yeah, they did. I haven't seen Goon 2.
I haven't either. Jay Bowershell directed this.
Oh, he did?
He did.
He directed it. Wow.
He directed and I think wrote it.
Yeah.
Double check me. 99.9%.
No, I think you're
sure.
right. And Sean William Scott is the Goon of the title.
It's basically our generation's slap shot from what everybody says, and I haven't seen it.
Oh, really? Yeah. It's Jay Baruchel and Evan Goldberg from Superbad.
Oh, great. Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah. Jay Baruchel also co-wrote it.
It's directed by Michael Dowse.
Oh, he didn't direct it.
Yeah, but Baruchel wrote it, though.
But did he direct the second one?
I don't know.
I want to be right about one tiny tenuous thread of something.
Goon, The Last of the Enforcers, was written and directed by Jay Baruchel.
I thought I saw an AMA on Reddit. All right. Yeah, I haven't seen it. You liked it, though, right?
I did. I was surprised how much I like it. It's about a guy who is on a minor league hockey team to be an enforcer. That's all he, and sort of, it's one of those type of things where it's like, do you want to be this, or do you want to be, somebody better, or somebody strive for, more in your game, or just quit hockey altogether and all that type of stuff. But it's been a while since I've seen it, so I don't know if that was the exact decision he has to make. But
one of the better Sean William Scott performances,
he's not now, and I think he's underrated.
He doesn't get a whole lot of these opportunities. He's always Stifler, or the role models guy, or that kind of thing. Or the dude, where's my car type of guy.
Yeah. I feel like he's kind of underrated, and you're right. I think it's a lot of times it's typecasting because they want to make him Stifler all the time. But in this, I think this is probably his best. Yeah, it's probably his best
I
performance.
saw a movie he was in a few months back, something like American Loser.
Oh, really?
Where he was
It's on
playing
an American Pie.
completely unlike type.
Really?
You should check it out. At least a scene on YouTube or something, because I remember that was the thing I took away from that movie was thinking he had a range there that I had never known.
Yeah, it is American Loser.
All right,
because he's always got to be in these movies that are American something.
American something.
Gretchen Mall's in that.
Yep,
that's my wife, Gretchen Mall.
Love her.
Does she know that?
She does not.
Well,
that's the unfortunate
Speaking
part of our
Gretchen
relationship.
Mall, what a weird fucking role in Boardwalk Empire that she had.
Yeah,
that was the most fucked up thing I'd seen in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Never saw.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
She's Michael Pitt's mom, and it's weird.
Yeah, It's a weird relationship.
Yes.
Then there is Guy and Madeline on a park bench. I saw this on Mubi a couple, 2-3 months ago or so. This is Damien Chazelle's student film, I believe.
In Harvard.
Yeah, in Harvard. But it's one of those. Now this movie, I don't know if it's good or not.
Yeah.
It has one great moment that sort of informs La La Land later, because the camera's moving back and forth between somebody who's playing an instrument and someone who's singing, I think. And so it's like it's doing that La La Land thing, like, you know, Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling and everything. But that's the music in this is way above the grade of this movie.
Yes.
Like, it's insane how great the soundtrack is.
Oh, yeah.
Does he still have the guy from La La Land?
Same guy.
That's why. Yeah.
Well, it's that, and then the main guy, I guess, is an actual trumpet player.
Oh,
and
awesome.
so when he's like noodling around in bed playing the trumpet, he's actually playing the trumpet,
awesome.
and he's amazing.
Yeah, Justin Hurwitz, by the way. Justin Hurwitz, he's the star of this movie, essentially, because you're sitting there watching this. This is a very... It doesn't look good. It's very student filmy. It is the sound that is one of those where people are talking and you can hear cars in the background.
Yeah,
and it just kind of like
there's a boom.
Yeah, and it just kind of overlaps the dialogue a lot of times. But then the music is like goddamn insane.
Yeah.
Great. Huh. Then we have The Haunting, both the 1963 and 1999 versions. I've seen both.
Obviously, 63 is much, much better.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
The Haunting 1963 is all more about sounds and everything. Like, that's why it's a classic. Is that the woman in the house is hearing stuff, and it's Blair Witch Project sort of takes from that. But the 1999 Haunting,
that's a fucking pile of hot garbage.
Yes, it is.
It really is, and CGI that's like offensively bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw the one time at Hollywood when I built it, and fuck that movie.
That
Jesus.
came out that summer that I joined the Hollywood 2017.
Yeah.
I came from an 8-screen theater that never sold out of anything unless it was like Titanic or something. And Hollywood 27 at the time was just making so much. Like, it was like every movie. That's why you needed like 18 ushers, because every movie did something. And I was amazed at The Haunting. 3 of our biggest auditoriums selling out.
Yep.
And everything.
I was there on the opening day.
Jesus.
Oh, it was just, I couldn't believe it. The movie's terrible.
The movie is terrible, man. And it wastes a lot of good time. I mean, Owen Wilson, Liam Neeson, Lily Taylor, Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's the hallmark of those late 90s overproduced, too sleek looking, like just, and horribly dated now because of that.
Yeah.
Jan de Bont directed this, who did Speed.
Right. Yeah.
Twister.
And Twister. A guy is another guy that I'd love to understand how his career became what it did after Speed, And you can kind of forgive Twister, but like then The Haunting, and like I'm sure his name is on some movies. You're like, really?
Yeah.
He did that? Yeah. So Jan de Bont directed the two Speeds, Twister, The Haunting, and his last movie he directed, Lara Croft Tomb Raider: The Cradle of Life.
Oh, poor guy.
That's the sequel, isn't it?
Yeah, 2003.
He didn't
That's
even
the one
direct
with
the
Bond
first Tomb Raider.
He did not.
Poor guy. And then that killed him. Then
Yeah.
he's just like, fuck this industry. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I never want to see a camera again.
Then we have The Heat, the
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock, Melissa McCarthy movie. Not
I'm
to be
telling you.
confused with Heat.
No, definitely not. This is a funny movie.
It may be. The trailer for this movie is where I realized that the movies Melissa McCarthy makes with a script are the ones I'm going to like, and the ones where there's just let her riff for a while. Because the trailer has her doing like 3 different sections where she's clearly just riffing, and there's no scripted joke. And she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna do that, and it's funny, and I'm gonna start and stop, and I'm gonna motherfucker, bitch."
Yeah.
And that's where I realized she's funny under certain circumstances, and that movie may be funny. But
Yeah,
because of that trailer, I've never seen the movie.
No, I understand that. And in a lot of ways, it's a rote comedic thriller about like a cop and an FBI agent like going after these things and everything. But I think this is where Ghostbusters failed as just being, known as being a female reboot. This is a female empowered movie where it feels organic. It doesn't feel like super forced on.
Yeah, I saw this. I was underwhelmed by it. And I've had that feeling about every Paul Feig movie I've seen.
Oh, really?
And I want to like the guy a lot
Yeah.
because he does a lot of positive stuff. But I wasn't a big fan of Bridesmaids, and I know everybody loves Bridesmaids, but I wasn't a big fan of that. And this one I wasn't. I was like, I thought parts of it were funny, but overall, just didn't like it.
Yeah. It's good. And the family scenes, the Melissa McCarthy family scenes are fucking hilarious, man.
Okay, you guys can go talk about Hocus Pocus. I've never seen this movie.
Oh, Jesus
really?
God
Yeah.
Almighty! My wife adores this movie. This is like Matilda. But she makes me watch this movie constantly. just by being on a TV in my home, it's offensive to me, and it's harmless. It's perfectly good. It's fun. They're going to remake it or something. I don't give a shit.
This is Bette Midler. Is it Sarah Jessica Parker?
And Kathy Najimy, yeah.
What happened to Kathy Najimy, by the way?
She's been sitting around waiting for them to remake this movie, I guess. I don't know.
Well, she was Peggy on King of the Hill.
Oh, she did do voice stuff. She may be
okay.
doing that some. Yeah, if you like those three in heavy makeup and period costumes, being campy as shit, making big facial expressions. Or you saw this when you were a kid.
Yes, that's about it.
There's some merit here. If you approach this movie like I do, as somebody who wants a movie to entertain him and does not enjoy watching 2 hours of Bette Midler making facial expressions, this is like pulling teeth.
Yes, it is.
Especially when there are Halloween movies delightful for the whole family, like Nightmare Before Christmas. So we don't have to go here except for my wife's nostalgia. God, I hate this movie. The child actors in this movie, they auditioned everyone in Hollywood and hired the worst ones they could find.
No, you're too good.
No offense to anyone in this movie. You're just not good in this movie. Yeah. Sorry.
It's bad. It's a bad
That's all
movie.
I really want to say about it. Now they're going to attack me because I know there's a following out there. There's people that adore this movie, but like people who hold it like Princess Bride in their hearts.
Yeah.
Those people are wrong.
Then there's HouseSitter, which is the Steve Martin, Goldie Hawn.
Man, I watched this movie constantly growing up. It was just
yeah.
one of those VHS copies that we had that, like on a sick day or a Saturday or something like that, or it's raining, I would watch this movie a lot. And I thought it was hilarious. Goldie Hawn and Steve Martin have a great chemistry together. This is Steve Martin, still kind of in his prime. He's super funny, good physical comedy. It's just good all the way around.
Yeah, I've either seen it and don't remember it, or I've never seen it.
So he's an architect, and he builds this dream house for his girlfriend. And his girlfriend is underwhelmed. He puts a bow on the actual house, and he meets Goldie Hawn, and she moves in and does like a squatter's rights thing, basically, where she's like, I'm here. And hijinks ensue, and they're adorable together.
All right.
Then there's Jackie, the Natalie Portman movie about Jackie Kennedy.
This is a good movie. It's I don't think it achieves everything it's trying to do. And it's a very dour kind of movie. It's like this is a rainstorm of a movie in terms of it's not going to lift your spirits.
When this movie starts, I was so on the edge about Natalie Portman's performance.
Yeah.
Because it's so measured.
Yeah.
And so and then you see when she's not talking to the interviewer, it's completely different.
Yeah.
And this is where I fell in love with this performance because at first I'm like, oh my God, you're just doing a fucking impersonation of Jackie Kennedy, and it's going to be like this the whole way, isn't it? Nope, not like that at all.
Yeah.
And I really respected that.
Is this her best performance?
I think so.
I would put it up there. I think she's been great. I thought she was pretty goddamn good in Black Swan.
Good point. Yeah.
But yeah, this is up there. She's fantastic. It's just that it's one of those times where the movie around her isn't up to her level. But I remember liking it.
Well, it's another one of those. I think I described this when we talked about Jackie during one of the years. Jackie is a lot like how The Queen runs. The plot of both of these movies are basically about, well, this movie's like, what route should they take during the funeral? That's the main plot of Jackie.
Yeah.
Whereas, you see a lot of interview stuff too that sort of fills in like the more dramatic parts of this story and everything. But for the most part, this is during the time that they're trying to figure out the funeral route.
Yeah.
And the Queen is about, should we fly the flag at half-mast when Diana dies?
Yeah.
And so, like, there's a lot more to it than that, but that's the basic thread that we're going through and everything. So, like, there's not much movie here. It's more character driven or a character piece than anything.
I was just about to ask, did they fly the flag at half-mast for Diana? But they had to, or they wouldn't make this movie.
Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah. Because if the decision ultimately was that they didn't, then making this movie is just a big shame.
Yeah.
They had to have done it.
Right. Michael Sheen, by the way, perfect Tony Blair. Like, that's like the perfect casting. There could be nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of those guys, man. He's better than we think he is.
Yep.
Then there is a movie that made no money at all. Jaws.
Yeah, everybody hated that movie.
You know what's weird is you think of Amity Island, and I was actually surprised to see it show up on this list because it could be any state in New England. You could tell me it's Rhode Island or it's
Delaware.
Delaware, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I would believe you, but it is set in Amity outside of Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking brilliant.
They just had a big anniversary, right? Wasn't it like, did we just pass the...
It's 40 now. It's 43. It's 43. The big anniversary would have been 3 years ago.
So I wonder what if I just saw a lot of people on Twitter talking about it in the last 3 or 4 days. I wonder if it was like a release anniversary or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like on this day it was released or something.
I watch this every 4th of July.
Wow.
Yeah.
Creepy.
Creepy? It's a 4th of July movie.
Well, yeah. The way Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Yeah. And I watched Die Hard around Christmas typically.
Yeah, it
too.
was June 20th when it came out.
Okay, excellent. So that was yesterday.
Okay.
Then there is, we've talked a lot about Jaws.
Yes.
Like a fuck ton. Metric fuck ton. Johnny Tremain, I've never seen this.
Oh, yeah, this is an old... I saw this in school.
Mm.
Like, they showed it in the multimedia room. It's good. This is right up your alley, American Revolution. Johnny gets accused of stealing something, and then he gets acquitted, and everybody loves him, and he becomes an American hero and rides with Paul Revere and all
Who is
that
this?
stuff. Johnny Tremain.
No, who is in the movie?
It was in the 50s, I think.
There are not very many well-known. Hal Stallmaster plays Johnny Tremain.
Yeah, old Hal.
Hal, yeah.
I think I was mixing it up with Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah. That is something that you can do. Yeah, so good movie?
Yeah.
Decent movie?
Yeah.
Check it out.
Here's a movie I never saw. I think I was in between movie theater stints at the time, and I just never got around to it. But I know this was a huge hit. Legally Blonde.
You've never seen this?
And
wow.
they're making another one.
I saw the sequel, though.
Well, they're making a third
Oh, really?
one.
Sequel is
Red,
garbage.
White, and Blonde.
Yeah, this is such a good movie.
The first one is great.
Yes.
It is. I think it's a different kind of comedy than Clueless.
Yeah.
But it is every bit as good, I think, in terms of that lighthearted, comedy. Maybe it's just a testament to how good Reese Witherspoon can be with the right material.
Mm-hmm.
But all the supporting players are good here. It's about basically if the girl from Clueless went to law school. It's just sort of your premise. And yeah, it's very funny. I don't think it warranted a sequel. I don't think that making the third one makes any sense or should be happening. But I'm clearly out of touch. And all the things are getting rebooted and remade.
Well, the thing with this character, she's smart. She's actually smart.
She is.
Like she's superficial in all the ways that you can be in Beverly Hills and everything. But once she gets down to it, like she's just casually really, really smart too.
She's street smart and not book smart, right? So she plays kind of. I think
she's a little bit of both. Like we find out later on.
You're right.
That she can do, but
I guess
she
what
comes
I mean is
at
she
it
doesn't
from
know
different
anything
ways.
about the law when this begins.
Yes, there's a lot of accidentalities
Ignorant.
to do this because the woman on trial is like a member of her sorority, and there's certain fashion things that end up being appealing to the end.
Well,
but,
it's just like the car stuff in My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah, exactly. But even Luke Wilson is really good in this, and Selma Blair. Like this is a good movie.
Yeah, it's enjoyable. And now It may not be to you now that you saw the sequel first.
Yeah.
Some of that may have infected you. We'll see. But
Yeah.
And again, at the same time, I don't think it's something that I would put on a list of movies Chris really needs to watch soon.
No, I'm surprised that you haven't just accidentally seen this.
It was everywhere for about 5 years there after I got married.
Yeah. Somehow it has skipped my consciousness. Little Children is next. I love this movie. I may like the trailer more though.
That's a great trailer.
The trailer is one of the best all-time trailers. Todd Field, aka Nick Nightingale, directed this movie.
Yeah. I keep bringing this up, but this is another movie that's completely overlooked.
Yeah.
Like you don't hear people talking about this movie at all. Even
It's
when you talk
very
about dramas.
abstract though for
Yeah.
a lot of. I mean, it's not like, hey, got to go see this. This will pick you up.
definitely not.
So it's hard. It's a hard sell.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can Jackie Earle Haley's character alone.
Yeah.
It'd probably drive you away.
Holy shit!
But it's so good. It's such a good movie.
Yeah, I agree. I really like this. Patrick Wilson plays. I think this is relatable. I mean, even though he's married to Jennifer Connelly, sometimes you need some Kate Winslet in your life.
Man. Yeah.
And,
I've said it once. I've said it 1,000 times.
But no, he's going through that midlife crisis type of thing where it's like, I've got a wife and I've got kids and there's this appealing neighbor or whatever. I'm going to, it's one of those movies where, adultery is happening, but you can understand why he would do that.
No, all the characters are super believable. It's super well acted. I end up liking this a lot more. It's another one with a completely innocuous title. That you would have no idea going into.
Yeah, when you
what
first
it's about.
look at it, you have to think about, yeah.
Right. And, but yeah, this was a surprise for me. I just put it on because I love Kate Winslet. Like, I'll pretty much watch anything that she's in. I was watching Sense and Sensibility last night.
I love
actually.
Sense and Sensibility.
Good stuff.
But yeah, this is good.
Then there is Little Women. There are 4 different versions. The only one I've seen is the 1994 version, and this is the first time I remember seeing Christian Bale, even though I had seen Empire of the Sun before this, but I didn't know that was him when I saw it. And then later on, I saw Little Women, and Christian Bale's in this.
You thankfully missed out on the Newsies train.
Yeah, I did. Little Women is timeless. I liked the 1994 version.
Winona's in that one too.
Winona's in that one, yeah.
Claire Danes, Susan Sarandon, good cast.
Kirsten Dunst is in it. It was a huge cast in this, but I
Eric
remember
Stoltz,
Gabriel Byrne. I remember. I love the story. I love all the stuff with Winona Ryder in this movie, though, because she plays a character who's fighting for women's rights, and she's not. I don't know if that's not like the main thing of her character. She's a wannabe writer is what she wants to do, and she's really good at it. And Gabriel Byrne believes in her and everything. And there's a scene in there where she gives him something she wants to get published, and this is of course way back in the day when women aren't treated seriously and everything. And Gabriel Byrne comes back with the manuscript and goes, he's like, he's an honest man. He'll give you a honest answer about this and everything. And she reads something into it going, well, what do you think of it? And he finally has to tear down and say, it's like, you are a lot better than this, and it's so churning, like gut churning, because he's in love with her and she's kind of starting to fall in love with him, and he has to give her this news that your book's not that good. I know you're better than this. So that's the main thing I remember about Little Women.
Isn't that the book that Mo's reading in one of those? Might be when he babysits Maggie. But he's like, they be called Little Women.
yeah.
He wipes a tear away.
It is that book. They were no longer little girls. They became little women. Malcolm X?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember too much Boston or Massachusetts.
He starts off in Massachusetts. I think, everything before he gets arrested and all that stuff. And he ends up being assassinated in New York. But yeah, there's 2 different sides to it. What a great movie!
Yeah, this is either Spike Lee's greatest movie. It's either this or Do the Right Thing.
Yeah,
I think Do the Right Thing is a more entertaining movie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Whereas Malcolm X is just this is how biopics probably should be done.
Mm-hmm.
Just so well done, just so good. And it's 3 hours long. But
Is it that long?
Yeah,
it's a beast.
man.
Because it goes through everything.
Yeah.
Man. It's his early days as like he does something. He's
He's a criminal.
he is a criminal.
Yeah.
He probably does a lot of those times. And the one thing that I remember is he has to remember numbers in his head because they don't want to write stuff down and everything. And then eventually gets caught for whatever. I think somebody writes something down and they have something to prove it or whatever. And so they go through the whole thing with them in jail. Of course, that's a major part of him transforming into Malcolm X and everything. And then just every single part of his life is in this thing. They're not trying to hit, I don't think they really are trying to hit the main points with this and make a 2-hour movie.
I wonder if that's the reason it's so long, is because he's such a complicated dude.
Mm-hmm.
He's not just a straight up hero. To even his most ardent supporters.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's got a pretty sketchy background, but you could say that he overcame it. His way of doing things is not always, what society would say is the right way of doing things. He's very polarizing, and I almost wonder if this movie came out today, what the reaction would be.
It would be nominated for like 15 Oscars or whatever at this point.
You think it would be tilted that way?
Yes.
Interesting.
Because
back
then it got nominated for 2 fucking Oscars.
Yeah, and Denzel lost, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. But I mean, he probably, I think he probably should have won for this.
Yeah.
But it got nominated for 2 freaking Oscars, and one was costume design. But I think if it came out today, it might be more explosive today.
I think it would be.
But I think it would also get more recognition today as well as a great film. And like I said, I think you'd have just everybody down the line getting nominated for this. Spike Lee, screenplay.
This is Spike Lee's masterpiece, I think, though. This is really where he peaked as a filmmaker. He's in this. He's very good in it. And I don't know how much he had to coax out that performance from Denzel, but it's just very assured.
Yeah. So then there is Malice. We've talked a little bit about Malice before.
Yeah.
Jeremy, you know a lot about Malice, right?
Well, I have seen it a half dozen times, but all of them were more than 10 years ago. But it is one of those beach pulpy, murdery.
This is a watchable ass movie.
It is watchable as hell, but it is pulpy garbage. But watch it, if only for Alec Baldwin chewing the shit out of that one scene in the boardroom. It's worth it.
Isn't he? Doesn't he have like some sort of god complex?
He does.
Yeah.
He says, "You tell me I have a god complex. I am God."
Yeah.
And yeah, it's hinging on, because I think somebody died on his table and he's being sued,
Right. Yeah.
for malpractice. But is he in on it?
Right.
Question mark.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love it. I actually am just now realizing I need to watch it again.
I know, me too.
It's been so long, I'm out of details.
I don't think I ever saw this.
It's really good.
But I remember seeing trailers for it. It's Nicole Kidman?
Mhm.
Yeah,
and Bill Pullman?
Bill Pullman, yeah.
Billy P.
Yeah, Billy P. Then there's Manchester by the Sea. Great movie.
Have you watched this again, by the way?
Haven't.
Whew. I want to. I just can't bring myself to.
Oh, yeah, it is that type of movie.
I've put this in. Matter of fact, my wife watched it in the van on a long road trip, and she was just bawling. She's in the back seat, and she's just bawling. And I'm like, oh, I bet I know what part you're at.
There's no way to watch this movie without having that reaction.
At least once, maybe more.
Yeah, because the movie's very, very tight-lipped about what the fuck is going on with this dude.
Yeah.
And then there's a scene between he and Michelle Williams that's just oh my god, just so.
There's I'm getting chills just thinking about it. But there's probably like 3 scenes in this. One with him and Lucas Hedges. One with him and Michelle Williams, and then one at a police station where you'll just be in awe. But also just feel all the feels.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because this movie opens almost comedically. Like he's a handyman and he's working. There's this girl that really likes him, but he's plunging her toilet at the time.
Yeah.
And he tells one woman to get fucked.
Yeah.
Stuff. And it's a really interesting, well-made film that I want to watch again. I need to build myself up.
It's a hard movie to be like, I'm going to go back to that place with. Kenneth Lonergan had made You Can Count on Me was his early. It has Laura Linney.
That's right.
And Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah,
that's a really great movie as well.
Yep.
He had done that and another movie called Margaret. He doesn't direct very often. This was his third movie, and You Can Count on Me came out in 2000.
He writes a lot, right?
He does write a lot. He's got 10 screenplay credits, and one of them is Gangs of New York.
Oh, wow.
And then he also did Analyze This and Analyze That. And The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle, apparently.
What the fuck?
So how the fuck? You're right.
Maybe a De Niro connection there.
There might be. Yeah, really good movie. Be sure that would you have to be in your happiest place to watch this?
No, I mean, I think it could work either way. If you're feeling down, you want to just get in there and watch a sad movie, that's fine. I think I mentioned on the podcast before I went to see this on a 75-degree sunny day, beautiful. Walked out of like the restaurant feeling great and walked into this.
Yeah,
and I loved it, but it's a certain
it's
type
going
of
to drain the fuck out of you. Then there's Mermaids. I've never seen this, but you're a Christina Ricci person. So.
I think this may have been her first movie. It was 1990.
Maybe.
I think it's probably not worth looking that up.
But guess
But we're
what?
going to do it anyway.
That's what I'm doing.
Is it? This is Winona again,
Winona
right?
Ryder, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Well, she must like making movies in Boston.
Yeah.
She's from Minnesota, from
Sure.
Winona, Minnesota.
With this chick named Ramona from Daytona. When I was young, I used to phone her.
I did not know that she was named after the city she was born in. Had no idea.
But this is Cher and Winona and Christina Ricci, and it's a family drama, family comedy, basically.
This was definitely her first movie. She had been in a couple of other minor things before this, but this was her first movie.
Yeah, I don't remember a whole lot about it, but I think it's pretty well made.
Merman, Dad. Merman.
What is that from?
It's from Ben Stiller in the Fashion Model movie.
Oh. Zoolander.
Because he's coal mining with his dad, and the commercial comes on. His dad makes fun of him for being a mermaid, and he's like, Merman, Dad.
Mona Lisa Smile. I never saw this.
Really?
Julia Roberts is in it, I know.
Julia Stiles.
This is Dead Poets Society for Girls.
That's basically what the trailers looked like and promised, and why I never saw this movie.
Oh, a really good cast. It's Kirsten Dunst, Claire Danes,
It's got Dominic
Julia
West from The
Stiles,
Wire is in this too.
Dominic West. So yeah, Julia Roberts is a teacher that comes into a very conservative school and talks about art. I think is her deal.
Big ideas.
Big ideas. Broaden some horizons.
Dangerous, man. Keep them away from our kids.
Yes.
It's like
it's not bad.
was the originality or creativity alert in The Simpsons where they have to flip a switch. And there's a point where Lisa is like, I think she's in the cafeteria and she's like, do you have anything that has no meat in it or whatever? And she's like, maybe the meatloaf. That's what the lunch lady says. And he goes like, is there a time when you lost your passion for this job or whatever? And she's like, and the lunch lady looks around and then she flips the switch underneath the lunch counter, and like Skinner's in his office and a light comes on and he's like, two originality alarms in one day. the students are overstimulated. And he's like, Willie, we need to take the colored chalk out of all the classrooms. Willie's like, I warned you. Didn't I say I warned you?
Oh my God.
Then there is my best friend's girl, Dane Cook.
Yeah, what'd you think of this?
Oh, this movie's awful.
This movie's awful, right?
Yeah.
Is this the one with Jessica Alba?
Yeah.
No.
Because there's a couple of movies that he came out with.
It has Jason Biggs in it.
It's Kate Hudson.
Kate
in this
Hudson,
one.
okay.
The other one is Employee of the Month, I believe.
Oh, okay.
It
yeah.
has Jessica Alba in it, but If you told me here's a scene from one of those movies, I would have a hard time, unless he's in the store or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, My Best Friend's Girl is Dane Cook is a guy who's like plowing through like millions of women, and then his buddy Jason Biggs starts going out with Kate Hudson, and then he and Kate Hudson, Dane Cook and Kate Hudson start fucking.
Sure, fucking. They be fucking.
Yeah, they be fucking. I remember when this movie came out, I actually knew some people who went through this thing.
Oh, really?
Went through this very thing. Two best friends.
Really?
Guy was going out with his one girl, and then like suddenly the best friend stole her away from him and everything, and it was like kind of heartbreaking to see the two best friends. Now, that was a way better movie than this shit.
Tell them not to watch this for many reasons.
Yeah. So let me look at this. I want to make sure that this actually fucking happened.
Or is it not the one where he goes on bad dates with girls?
Yeah, so
like intentionally?
Tank faces the ultimate test of friendship when his best friend hires him to take his ex-girlfriend out on a lousy date in order to make her realize how great her former boyfriend is. And I think they actually have sparks during it. So that's how that happens.
There you go.
And so Jason Biggs, he's a loser again.
Yes, he is.
He was in a movie called Loser.
He was. That's why I referred to it.
Awful movie.
I thought you were just referring to him playing losers all the time.
Yeah, he is that too. It's sort of a double meaning if you think about it on a deep level.
Even his Frasier cameo, he was kind of a loser.
Yeah.
He has a Frasier cameo.
Nice.
He's a vet on his first day.
It reminds me like when he's in Jay and Silent. And here's a Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back coming back into the fray, but where he's like they bust in on him and James Vanderbeek and they're like, hey, it's the pie fucker. and he's like that's the way it always is, right? It's like I'm gonna be fucking that pie for the rest of my life, right? It's like, and Vanderbeek's like, you fucked a pie on the screen, and he goes, oh, it's never Jason Biggs, the guy from Loser or the guy from this. Mystic River.
Yeah, gonna take a turn right now.
Yeah.
We've talked about this movie a lot. I like it a lot, but it's definitely like no one really comes out of this better.
That's another tough movie to watch.
It is. Well, and I think maybe Dennis Lehane just likes pain.
Yeah, maybe
he
so.
puts his characters through so much of it. No one's really unscathed here. Everyone, I would say even Kevin Bacon's character ends up kind of changed for the worse after all. But it's fantastic performances. And just nuanced. A lot of murder mysteries will just play it straight. But there's layers here, and they don't just give you a red herring. They give you a red herring that's believable and has his or her own shit going on. I love the movie.
Yeah,
it's good.
It is very good. One Crazy Summer. I've never seen this.
Oh, this is fun.
Really?
Yeah, this is Savage Steve Holland.
Oh, yeah?
And I don't think you got into him back in the day.
I saw, was it Better Off Dead? Yeah, I saw that.
Better Off Dead and One Crazy Summer, like kind of two peas in a pod. This is where he goes off to summer camp. It's John Cusack to me.
Oh, I have seen
more.
this.
And it's just fun. I love the Savage Steve Holland type of humor and the whole hyperkinetic young John Cusack. I'm a fan. This is fun.
Yeah. Is it on par with Better Off Dead?
It's interesting because I was thinking about it. It's certainly not as popular as Better Off Dead, and not like as cult following. No, it's not quite to those points, but it is really enjoyable.
Interesting.
We had a whole treatise on Patriots Day on one of these podcasts.
Yeah,
I think
that was me.
I think you did that. I still haven't seen it. I just remember the trailer and like Mark Wahlberg going, "We got to do something." Yeah. You're probably right, Marky Mark. Because bombs went off, probably should have to do something. Everybody was just sitting around doing nothing until you led the charge.
He's also the only smart enough guy to go, have everybody get their phones so we might have pictures on the phones. Grab everybody's phones.
Okay, have we determined that he's a shitty actor?
Well, he's got talent. He just keeps it under lock and key most of the time.
He's been good in a couple of things.
He's not shitty. He's not like Keanu Reeves or something like that where like, you put him in just something random and he's just awful.
Although I think if you put Marky Mark in Dangerous Liaisons period piece, I think he would stand out just as bad as Keanu did. But I don't think he's straight up shitty. but he's one of those guys that has had enough flashes of talent that you wonder where it is the 90% of the movie. Because he's usually just kind of doing Marky Mark.
Yeah. I mean, like The Departed, small doses. He was really good in that. Fear, he was good in that, but like the bar was so low that he could overcome it. And then Boogie Nights, he's playing almost a version of himself.
Three Kings, he's probably as good as anything that he's done. But yeah, he's just
yeah, for the most part, he's doing his like shooter role in everything.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think that's like, what was the movie? I saw him in All the Money in the World.
Oh yeah,
I felt he was shitty in that movie because Wahlberg gets an affected, serious look whenever anything's like really dramatic, and it just comes off phony a lot of the times. And it's just, you know, there's something about it, much like what we were talking about with Daniel Day-Lewis with the Crucible, where he has that subtle way of basically signaling that he's not into this Bible stuff.
Right.
There's nothing subtle that comes off about Mark Wahlberg when anything serious happens.
No, I totally
He's like,
agree.
this is the most gravity situation that has ever happened in anybody's life ever. That's how he acts that shit. The Perfect Storm. I saw it a long time ago.
Oh, he's good in this too.
I don't remember much about it.
Oh, it's really good.
It's about a storm, right?
It is.
It's one of those movies that when it came out, the effects were jaw-dropping, but within 6 months, they look like crap.
Yeah.
Because it was just came out right on the cusp of a leap in technology.
Mm-hmm.
So when I saw it, I was like, wow! And now if you see it on TV, you're like, wow, but for all the wrong reasons. You're like, oh, it's green screen city here.
Yeah. I like the characters in this. They're all very believable.
Well, and it's based on a true event.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think it's a good movie. It's unfortunate that the technology, I think, will hold me back from enjoying it as much because it's not gonna immerse me in it anymore.
Well, you really don't get it until the very end. Other than that, like it's the crew, most of which don't like each other, and Clooney trying to keep command of the situation, and the fact that they do have to go all the way out there to get to the fish, and then the elation when they get to that hole, like it's just coming in droves.
Yep.
And man, it's. I understand what you're saying. I really like this movie, but yeah, it probably will be held back.
Yeah.
Practical Magic. I saw it a long time ago.
Boy, those are two really pretty women.
Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman.
Isn't Peyton Quinn in this too?
Yes, he is.
What happened to that fucker?
Yeah, it's another guy where you're like,
he was impossibly good looking in this movie, though.
yeah. I think Nicole Kidman had just finished Eyes Wide Shut and did this movie.
Oh, really?
So, like, a lot of the things that she had been, like, Eyes Wide Shut came out after this movie, but I think she had finished Eyes Wide Shut and then did this, and this came out before that. But there's a story or two that she was a little bit too affected when she was doing Practical Magic because she was still on that Eyes Wide Shut kind of like, she's sort of still in that, and that had been an ordeal.
Yeah.
So, but I don't remember much about this movie at all.
Two sisters that are witches, I think.
So. That's about
Modern day, boring.
Yeah.
It is kind of boring, isn't
That's
it?
all I remember. It poured the tears out of me.
God, they were so beautiful, though. I mean, I was just mesmerized watching it.
Hey,
That's very pretty.
Yeah. I agree. Then there's Prozac Nation, another Christina Ricci movie. I've never seen it.
Oh,
I've heard good things about it, and I'm curious to know what you think. I haven't seen it, but
this is really good. This is a woman with depression, a girl with depression that goes off to school in Boston, and it's the tale of her like progression, like through the first year of college. She's a writer. She sends an article, I think, to Rolling Stone. And she has a relapse. Her mom is really overbearing. She really wants her to just snap out of it, as most people do with people with depression. And she just can't do this. And she doesn't want to take medication. But she, she kind of has to. Mm-hmm. And it's very compelling. This is so compelling that when I was in the Department of Psychiatry at Vanderbilt, we started doing a movie night for the faculty, and this was the first movie that we showed. It was presented by the chief of psychiatry, or the chair of psychiatry, as like one of the best representations in film
Really?
of depression.
Interesting.
And Christina Ricci is fantastic in this.
Then there's R.I.P.D. We don't need to talk about that, do we?
Did you see it?
I never saw it.
I saw half of it.
Jeff
awful.
Bridges playing another sort of offshoot of Lebowski, and then Ryan Reynolds.
No, this is his Rooster Cogburn.
Oh, it's Richard
speed.
Cogburn?
Yes.
But it's still Men in Black.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I understand. I think I've had enough internet people shout at me that this is actually its own thing. It's based like a graphic novel or some bullshit or what have. It's Men in Black. I'm a movie guy. I already saw Men in Black. I saw Men in Black 2. I saw Men in Black 3. I don't need your goddamn Men in Black for ghosts.
It's bad.
And everybody called it that when the trailer came out. It didn't make any money because it was that.
Mhm.
How did this movie even get made?
I don't know.
Anyway.
Yeah. Then there's Running with Scissors. I remember not liking this at all.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Oh, I hated this
Really?
movie. Yes.
This is Augustin Burroughs.
Augustin Burroughs, and it's based Ryan Murphy is the one who wrote and directed it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, but I was in New York when this movie came out, and I remember I think I went to Sunshine Theater or something like that to watch it, and I was just like, I just was instantly bored for a long stretch of time.
It is a character study for sure, and he's a quirky character to get behind. I'm trying to think of who was the Joseph Cross.
Yeah,
like a
Joseph Cross
young
was
guy.
Another sort of an up and coming guy that we thought might be huge at one point.
Mhm.
But I haven't seen him in a long. He's probably a character actor. He's in 100 million movies now. But.
Could be. No, I really like this movie.
Yeah.
I kind of like his writing though, and I think I read his memoir too, and it may be called Running with Scissors.
I think it is.
But it's a weird story. It's not always a comfortable story. People are very quirky. I don't know. I could see not liking it, but I was a fan.
I could watch it again, and we'll see. But geez, I just remember it not being a good day at the.
Well,
theater.
it's definitely not like super exciting and like yay kinetic and all that stuff.
Yeah. Then there's the Scarlet Letter.
Which version?
Oh my God, all of them apparently. So I read this book, and I don't think I've ever seen a screen adaptation, but I do believe the 95 version with Demi Moore is notorious for having, just before she's hanged or whatever, having Native Americans come in and attack and save her or something like that.
Oh.
Like it's completely different from the story.
Oh, I saw this back in the day, and I don't even remember that.
I'm going to look this shit up.
Oh my God.
Because I remember people saying that, like, she's about to get hanged and, like, Native Americans come in and she's saved from it or whatever.
This is Gary Oldman that was in that too.
Mm-hmm.
This is back in the day where, well, I guess this is right at the beginning where Gary Oldman was like amazing in everything.
Is it putting Demi Moore in this movie kind of like putting Keanu in this movie?
Oh, no, I remember her
I
being
feel like
all right.
I remember the trailers, and just the fact that she was in this setting seemed silly to me.
Yeah, as he takes her place on the gallows, the Algonquin attack Massachusetts Bay. Both sides sustain heavy casualties. The Puritans are more concerned with concealing the conflict from England than harassing Hester any further. She finally abandons her Scarlet Letter and departs with Dimsdale for Carolina.
Oh, all right. It's like
just like how Nathaniel Hawthorne
exactly.
wrote.
That's like a Gangs of New York ending.
Yeah, but that's the Scarlet Letter. The story itself is another, like, it's another important story.
Yeah,
it's well ahead of its time, considering, I guess, slut shaming.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
that's sort of what it comes down to. And to think that this was written like was it the 1800s?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, that's way far in advance of.
Mhm.
And I wonder if that was accepted immediately, or if we've come to find this as a classic story over time.
I don't know. That's a good point.
Well, the first movie adaptation was 1911.
Oh, Jesus!
So it's been around for a
Yeah.
minute. And then the second one was 1913.
Oh, yeah.
2 years went by, and
Well,
somebody
that's
was like,
the
"We got to
thing.
reboot that
That's-
shit."
You
that's
think
the
we're
thing.
bad these days?
Well, when you go back into the silent era, man, like everything was made 100 times.
Yeah.
Like if it was a well-known story, yeah, you're going to see 500, Oliver Twists.
It's like the song California Dreams in the 50s and 60s. Every single goddamn band covered that song.
Yeah.
Mamas and Papas have a version. Beach Boys have a version.
Yeah. Then there is School Ties, a movie of my generation that I've never seen.
Wow. And we somehow are circling back to Matt Damon again.
Yeah.
Because he's like, this is cameo Matt Damon. This movie's actually one of those movies that has a bunch of people in it, but this is actually the lead is Brendan Fraser, who is at this point like the it guy. And this movie the trailer sort of sells you a Dead Poet Society for anti-Semitism.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's basically what it is.
Yeah.
And it's just not as good at any of the things that Dead Poet Society is good at.
It's not a bad movie.
It's not.
And Brendan Fraser is really, really good at it.
He is, and it's one of the first times I think he really got dramatic, and maybe for him it was like a chance to show range. But in the shadow of Dead Poet Society, which still loomed pretty tall at the time, I think it was going to have a hard sell.
Dick Wolf of Law and Order wrote this. Brendan Fraser, Matt Damon, Chris O'Donnell, Cole Hauser, Ben Affleck, Anthony Rapp. But I do remember when they repackaged School Ties for DVD, they made sure that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon and all those were like prominently on the cover because, you know, that's the movie you're getting is a Matt Damon, Ben Affleck movie.
Exactly.
Then there's Shutter Island, another Scorsese, Dennis Lehane adaptation, DiCaprio. What do we think of Shutter Island?
I really like it.
Yeah, I like it. I feel like it. For me, it tipped its hand too early, and so it kind of spoiled the ending for me.
But that ending is really, I mean, even it's one of those where if you know it, it's still devastating.
At what point did it tip its hand? Without, I mean, we don't have to spoil
For me, it was on the boat.
Oh shit!
Yeah, because I saw handcuffs on the tied to one of the pipes or whatever.
You saw that on
saw
your
it
first?
Immediately.
Really?
And I was like, why are there handcuffs here? And you know, the other part of it is, you know, instinctively you're watching a movie that has a twist ending.
Yeah.
So that was a thing that was running through my head, and you just started connecting the dots.
Interesting.
Yeah, I saw the handcuffs right at the beginning, and
I had an idea that this is a possibility of where we were going, but that the confirmation of it, like you said, is just really fantastic. Like cinematically, it's just fantastic.
I think for me, and again, the book may play differently, but in the film world, once you ask the question, you've answered. For me, at least in the confines of what this question being asked is in this film. Like, is it real or not? You've just told me it's not.
Right. Yeah.
So
it would be an odd movie if it went the other way.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, there's only really that one way it can go. I still think it's awesome, but it doesn't surprise me. So
yeah, overall, I like this movie. It has a great score to it.
Yeah, the music stands out to me.
Do you know who?
Well, it's actually, I don't think there's a credited composer on Shutter Island. It's one of those things where you have several different things all at once, and I think one of the composers named John Adams did some things for this. John Adams is a really good composer, but I believe if you look at the credits for this movie, there's not a single composer.
Isn't this the other movie that uses that string thing from Arrival?
Oh, it might be
the Max
it's on the Nature of Daylight.
On the Nature of Daylight, and it's Max Richter.
Oh yeah, Max Richter. I've got an album from Max Richter who he redid all of Seasons.
Tchaikovsky.
Yeah, he did all.
Vivaldi.
Vivaldi. Yeah, he did all
Italian, Russian, same thing.
Yeah. Right, he did that. He redid it, and it's really good.
I remember you talking about. It's on vinyl, right?
Yeah, I got it on my iPhone though. Then there is The Social Network.
Social Network.
We've talked a million things about The Social Network too.
Yep.
It's one of those, like, if it's a good Boston movie, we probably ripped into it a few times, man, because Social Network's great.
Man, by the way, you can give me images of Harvard and Cambridge and like the north side of Boston all day long, and I will eat that shit up. It's especially in autumn, like it's so fucking gorgeous there.
It's pretty.
I was thinking about this the other day. There's a part in Social Network where they're doing that deposition, and Zuckerberg goes on that long thing, and the lawyer, the woman, the woman lawyer,
Rashida Jones.
Is it Rashida Jones?
No, it's not Rashida Jones. It's the other one.
Okay.
The prosecution or whatever is like Cy, and there's a guy named Cy in there. But I, for the longest time, thought that she was just saying sigh, as in, I'm tired of this Zuckerberg asshole saying a whole bunch of stuff. So she's like, sigh. I didn't know that dude's name was Sigh.
That's funny.
Spotlight. We've talked a bunch about Spotlight as well.
Great movie.
Yeah.
It's another movie that you're probably not going to like pick you up, but
Yeah.
one of Rachel McAdams' best performances. One of this is like the middle of the Michael Keaton renaissance.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Between Birdman,
No,
Spotlight,
you don't have to explain
Spider-Man.
it. You don't have to explain it.
He's
Yeah.
on a whole different level right
I'm
now.
there. I'm the guy that made up the word caviezeling, man. I'm with you. A Keith renaissance makes perfect sense.
They
to me.
this I think is on Netflix or Amazon or something like that. Even though it was Best Picture winner, I think it's underrated and underseen.
Yeah, I like movies like this where there's reporters or investigators who are going around, and I think I'd lump this in with All the President's Men and Quiz Show and a couple of these type of movies where they're going around and nobody wants to tell them anything, and they have to go through all this bullshit, these crumbs, and like finding little tricks or whatever to get to the information that they need. I find that just those type of characters, thank God there's people like that on the earth that exist.
And people like Michael Keaton's character that can keep the silver fox, John Slatter, like, no, we're still working on this.
Yeah.
I know we need to move on to other things, but just bear with us.
Yeah.
The Silver Fox.
Isn't that how he was known for in the Mad Men years?
Probably.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Then there's Stealing Harvard.
Oh my God! Is this Sarah Michelle Gellar? No, that's
that was
Harvard
Harvard Man.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Woo, that's
It's
totally
just
different
she
movie.
and
This is
Zach
Jason Lee
Grenier in that movie.
and Tom Green.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's terrible.
Daddy, would you like some sausage? It's that one because he's got strings on his hands.
That's
playing
Freddie
the
Got
piano.
Fingered.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. This is
God damn, they all went together because I don't like Tom Green.
well,
very
his
much.
performance in Road Trip and his performance in this, it's all the same thing. His performance in Charlie's Angels.
Yeah.
What about the Chad?
I don't remember anything about. I don't think I saw Stealing Harvard.
It's very, very.
Remember when
bad.
he was married to Drew Barrymore?
I
Yeah,
do.
Yeah.
That was weird.
That was weird. Stuck on You, another Fairley Brothers.
So they must be from Boston.
Yeah, they definitely are.
Fairly sounds
Well,
like a
if-
Boston name.
Yeah, they are.
I think they're from Rhode Island,
Shut up.
Are you?
but New England.
Yeah.
I don't like this movie.
No.
Yeah, I wasn't big on it
The
either.
Fairley Brothers, for their comedy to work, they have to get really close to the line of mean.
Mhm.
And every now and then they cross it, like with Shallow Hal, and this one kind of feels the same way to me. Like we've lost the sensitivity to the people you're making fun of, and now it just kind of seems mean. I
Yeah.
only saw it the one time, though. It's Greg Kinnear. and
Yeah.
Matt
Greg
Damon?
Kinnear and
Yep.
Matt Damon.
Greg Kinnear's the one who's getting all the women, and Matt Damon's like the guy who can't get anybody.
Yeah, because that's how it would go.
Right. I think Eva Mendes ends up finally saying, all right.
Yeah. There
I'll
you go.
fuck both of you.
Yeah, exactly. Surrogates. Oh my God.
Oh. I will watch this movie again, and I know it's a D+. But enough time goes by, my brain will trick itself, and the premise is still cool. And
Yeah.
I'll go back to it, but man, this is one of them. I went to see this with my father-in-law. We were both geeked because it had good names in it, good actors, real good heady sci-fi premise, and it's pretty much awful.
Went completely out of my brain after I saw it. I don't remember anything. I know I saw it too.
I remember way
It's
too much.
fashioning itself like almost like a Minority Report, like sleek, futuristic action movie, and it just kind of sucked.
Yeah, and then it kind of gets a little Mad Maxy there. It's just not. No, it's a mess.
Then there is Ted and Ted 2.
Ah,
I like Ted.
I do. And you know what? I even like Ted 2.
I don't think I saw Ted 2. I would totally watch it though.
It's Ted 2 is got some stretches that are long, just way too long and terrible. But there are some great moments in Ted 2. I can see why it wasn't. This is one of those weird phenomenons, right? Where you have the first movie was a huge hit, and then the sequel comes out and nobody gives a shit about it. Like, I mean, and I hesitate to say that about Deadpool 2, which is going to end up making, it's going to make a little less than the first one did, but still it felt like that with Deadpool 2 a little bit, but this one even worse. Like the first Ted made like about 200 million or something like that domestically. And then Ted 2 comes out, nobody cares. And everybody talked about Ted. Like, it's one of those movies, it's not like it got forgotten or anything. Ted 2 comes out, I'm not going to watch that.
Yeah.
And I guess it goes to show that it doesn't really matter if you've got a name recognition. If the movie doesn't look good, people aren't going to come see it.
Yeah. This one, Wahlberg's good in.
Yeah.
Somehow playing like a frumpy, schlumpy dude that's also dating Mila Kunis.
Yeah.
But the effects are really good in this. I think the comedy is on point. That whole thing where he's running down the list of names of the girls is just hilarious.
Very funny.
And they have a whole thing with Flash Gordon and the actor who played Flash Gordon. It's just a fun movie. Ted 2, like I said, there's the one scene where they get on the farm and they see that the farm is growing like just huge amounts of weed. And everything, and the camera, the Jurassic Park music is playing during it, and like it's going across their. It's like the same like blocking and everything. Amanda Seyfried does the Laura Dern thing where she's like, she like has to look at it and everything, and then like by the end of it, it gets on Ted, and he's like, they do move in herds. It's just, like I said, there's a whole long sequence where they're trying to break into Tom Brady's house and everything, and Tom Brady's actually in the movie, and it's like, God, man, just if you could have cut this down to like just to its bare essence, it would have been fine. But to Jillian on her 37th birthday, a title I recognize, don't remember anything about the movie.
Did you see this during your Claire Danes thing?
If she's in it. Yes, and I don't remember anything about this.
This is a very good movie. This is Michelle Pfeiffer and the fucking
Peter
guy.
Gallagher.
Peter Gallagher. She's dead, and he's longing after her. And Claire Danes is his daughter, and she's trying to connect with him. I saw the play that this is based on, and the movie is very, very good.
All right.
Then we have The Town, another movie I know we have talked about a lot.
And
So
Boston
good.
as fuck.
Yeah.
You know what's good about this movie is Ben Affleck's hair. He's got really good hair.
You know what else is good? Is Jeremy Renner.
Mm-hmm.
Because
This is unlike anything he's ever done.
Indeed. He's in danger in most movies of just playing Jeremy Renner. And here, like, he's acting. And he's almost gets overlooked because everybody else is either more of a fringe character or has a more dynamic role.
Mm-hmm.
You think about The Town, you think about Affleck, you think about John Hamm. You don't necessarily think about Renner, but especially that scene where they argue by the fence as cars are going by, and it's just this innocuous part of their neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Love that scene where Affleck is talking to Rebecca Hall, and he shows up, and he has to like somehow steer that. He has to put the hand over the tattoo and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
Everything about that scene is good because he knows he's caught. Renner's going to be pissed at him because he's not supposed to be dating her. He's supposed to be making sure where she lives. But he also has to protect himself and Renner by hiding the tattoo and lying to the girlfriend. It's got layers, man.
I like to see that Jeremy Renner and John Hamm fought their battles again in Tag later on.
I forgot about that.
Then
Coughlin!
Then we have The Verdict, which is another outstanding movie.
Ooh.
Paul Newman is the lawyer in question of this one. Another one where they give him a case where they just think it's just going to be one of those in and out type things, and he's on his last legs as a good lawyer or whatever. And then he realizes there's much more to this, and he's got to fight for this. Verdict is a very good movie.
Got a great arc.
Mm-hmm.
God, Paul Newman, man.
Newman was
That
the
dude.
best.
He really was, like, start to finish, man.
Start to finish and well beyond the grave.
Mm-hmm.
His food products continue to
That's
give
right.
millions and millions to charity.
Yeah, man.
Indeed. But yeah, if there was a wholehearted recommend that we haven't already recommended, and maybe we have recommended The Verdict, go watch you some Verdict.
Mm-hmm.
Get you some Verdict.
Get it. Get up in that.
It is an outstanding film.
It is.
A movie that may not be outstanding though is With Honors.
Another Brendan Fraser joint.
Yeah. I haven't seen it.
Saw it. Can't tell you a thing about it.
Brendan Fraser goes to Harvard. hotshot dude, and Robin Williams is a homeless dude that memorizes his thesis but has burned it. And
so it's like Brendan Fraser said, my first ripoff of Dead Poets Society didn't work.
I need me some Robin Williams.
So my second one, I'll just get Robin Williams in it? Is that what happened here?
It's a quirky movie, but I
remember it. Now that you say that, I remember it. And I remember it not being very good.
Yeah.
Then the rundown. Black Christmas. I don't think I ever saw this. Is this the
Michelle
remake?
Trachtenberg.
This is the remake of Black Christmas.
Yes.
It's got a 4.6 on the IMDb.
Ooh.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Did you ever see it?
No, that's why it's in the.
Oh, okay. Carnal Knowledge. I saw this movie, but I've got to admit, I watched it because I thought it would be some nice, like 1970s skin type movie, and it doesn't deliver.
Isn't this like
this is Mike Nichols and Mike Nichols
Nicholson.
directed. Jack Nicholson's in it, and then you have Art Garfunkel.
Yeah.
And you have Candace Bergen.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to remember who else is in it.
It's Anne Margaret.
Anne Margaret is
Yeah.
in it. But yeah, it was one of those movies. I was too young to watch this movie. I mean, not like super young or anything. I was like maybe 20, but I had heard about it. I'd heard about it like, oh, this must be some like serious fuck action, and it's not really.
It's like the Van Halen album for unlawful
Yeah,
carnal knowledge.
That's what happened with me. What year did Age of Innocence come out?
93.
So I would have been under 20 years old. That's okay for me to be horned up by that. So I thought the Age of Innocence was basically going to be period piece porn.
Oh, and that's like one of Scorsese's like rare PG movies.
I
by
know,
the way.
I know. There was
Yeah.
no nudity in there.
Yeah.
None.
But yeah, that movie did come out in 93.
I was looking forward to some corset sex,
Yeah.
some garter sex.
Hey, Winona Ryder making the episode again, and Daniel Day-Lewis.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I think we have our favorites.
Yeah. The Company Men. I think I've seen this. This is Ben Affleck, Chris Cooper, Tommy Lee Jones. I saw this. I don't remember anything about it.
Yeah, I remember
neither.
seeing the poster, and that was about
A
it.
year in the life of three men trying to survive a round of corporate downsizing at a major company.
Yeah, sounds boring. Probably sucks.
Ethan Frome.
Yeah, did you ever see this?
Nope.
This is Liam Neeson's.
Oh yeah, Liam Neeson's.
And,
Liam Neeson's is in this.
And it's based on like a super famous novel.
I've heard of the super famous novel, and there's a part in Grosse Point Blank where John Cusack runs into one of his old teachers, and he's like, "You're not still inflicting that Ethan Frome damage, are you?" He's just like, "Oh no, we took it off the curriculum." Good, because it's a terrible, terrible book. The Finest Hours. Have no idea.
It's like Only the Brave. I'll guarantee it's some kind of military heroic death.
You know what? Watch The Finest Hours be like top 100 in the IMDb, and I don't know what. Oh, that's 2016. Oh, wait. So is it 2016 Finest Hours or 1964?
2016.
Okay, so that's Chris Pine, Casey Affleck, Ben Foster, Eric Bana.
It's the Coast Guard thing, and
Coast Guard.
it's something that I thought that I would have
military hero death movie. That is exactly what I said.
Yeah. The Greatest Game Ever Played. I think that's got some
Shia
Caviezel's.
LaBeouf. No.
That's Shia LaBeouf.
Is it?
Yeah.
What's funny is I almost tweeted out yesterday, what's your favorite golf movie you forgot existed? And then I was going to rattle off that one, the one with Caviezel.
The Legend of Bagger Vance is another
Legend
one.
of Bagger Vance.
Yeah, what's
Vance
the
would be
one with
another
Caviezel? Because that's the.
He's Bobby Jones.
He's playing Bobby Jones. It doesn't have a golfy title, maybe. It's like
the legendary.
the legendary of the Bagger.
Greatest Game Ever Played is
Vance.
Shia.
The greatest Bagger Vance to ever play.
The Legend of the Greatest.
Bobby Jones, Stroke of Genius.
Stroke of Genius.
Yeah. So, Greatest Game Ever Played, Shia LaBeouf.
Totally watchable.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah?
Totally watchable. And now, I'm a golf guy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think right now if there's a golf movie that I don't like. Because I'll even watch The Bagger Vance, and that's pretty much a C- as movies get.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, but I think it's enjoyable. I think it's definitely more family friendly and less dramatic and
Caddyshack
serious.
2.
Well, that would be one. Yes. But that's the only golf movie I've thought of that I wouldn't recommend.
Harvard Man, that's James Toback. We talked about it briefly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it bad?
Yeah.
No, he is now.
Well, he
yeah,
is. He
obviously.
is, but this movie's bad too.
Yes, it's not good. But Adrian Grenier's in this.
Yeah, and
Ben Stiller.
Sarah Michelle Gellar's in it. Ben Stiller might be. He was in Black and White.
I'm
James Toback.
I think I'm thinking of Black and White.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of Black and White.
Because both movies have a running story thread of an athlete being asked to throw a game.
Yeah. And yeah, you're right.
I just remember that Sarah Michelle Gellar and Adrian Grenier fuck in the woods.
Yes. Yeah. You know what? That's the only scene I remember.
You should have called the movie Sarah Michelle Gellar and Adrian Grenier fuck in the woods.
Exactly.
It's
And you would've made more money.
Joey Lauren Adams and Eric Stoltz and Rebecca Gayheart.
Rebecca Gayheart.
Oh, the Noxema girl.
Yeah, man.
Then there's Here Comes the Boom. That's a Kevin James movie.
Yeah, he tries to do a UFC thing or something like that.
I mean, all you really had to say was that's a Kevin James
high school
movie.
biology teacher, come on, a successful mixed martial arts player, whatever. Then there is what is it? In Dreams.
Jesus.
That's a Neil Jordan movie. It came out after Interview with a Vampire, I believe. It has Annette Bening in it.
And Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr. And God, I remember this being really fucking just dense and abstract and not good at all.
Yep, I would say all those things are true.
Yeah. And then there is a bunch of Jesse Stone TV movies.
Those Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck.
Yeah, Jesse Stone and the Sorcerer's Skull.
What?
No, it's like he's a cop or he's like a U.S. Marshal or something like that.
Okay. Lords of Salem. I never saw this.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to say I never saw this, but I guarantee you I wrote a review of it. Yeah.
This is Sherry Moon Zombie was the person in this. I can't get on board with Rob Zombie movies. I was okay with House of a Thousand Corpses, but I didn't like Devil's Rejects, didn't like the Halloween.
Man, Devil's Rejects has got a huge cult
I know it
following.
does.
I hate it, but it's one of those that people really love for some reason.
Yeah.
Love Story. It's the Ryan O'Neal, Ally McGraw movie. Love means never having to say you're sorry.
Yeah. I mean, that was a phenomenon back in the day.
Yes, it was. The Pregnancy Pact. Fuck, this has got Thora Birch in it.
Yeah, it was based on that thing that a bunch of middle school or high schooler girls did that they said they were all going to get pregnant by the time they...
This was based on a true story.
Right.
Yeah. Has anybody seen it?
No.
Proud Mary.
Yeah, it's Taraji B. Henson came out last year.
It came out last year.
It was like a John Wick for women.
Oh, okay.
More so than Atomic Blonde. She's a badass assassin.
Completely missed that one. Reanimator. I know I've seen this.
Yeah, this has got a big cult following.
Yeah,
too.
it does. It's
H.P. Lovecraft type of thing.
Yeah, it's I think it's known mainly for having a scene where somebody's head gets cut off and then his body starts walking around and everything. Real 80s cheesy effects type of thing.
Also the movie they talk about in American Pie when they're smoking weed outside the banquet hall.
Yeah, in American Beauty.
That's what I meant. American Loser.
American Pie never gets into the darkness.
I was wondering. I was like, what? He fucks a pie and then he turns to Allison Hannigan. He's like, you ever see that movie, The Reanimator?
I think there's also some sort of sexual thing with the head too. I haven't
right.
seen it in forever. Jonathan of all people gave me a copy of it, and I watched it, and I was like,
"Well, if that's the case, then there's definitely some fucking."
That's a totally weird movie. All right, moving on. Yeah. Stronger.
Oh, that's the Boston bombing Jake Gyllenhaal movie that came out last year.
I didn't know. I didn't see.
Got rave reviews.
Yeah.
Boston bombing.
Where he lost his legs, I believe, and then he came back to run the Boston Marathon with prosthetics.
That sounds like a much better movie than Patriots Day.
It got really good reviews, if I remember correctly.
And then there's Summer Catch.
Oh,
that's
Jesus.
the Keanu Reeves, Jessica Biel movie.
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Oh, it's Freddie Prinze Jr.
I mean, it could very well be Keanu Reeves.
What was the Keanu Reeves? Wasn't there a Keanu Reeves, Jessica Biel movie kind of like this? Wasn't he like a baseball coach or some shit?
Hardball, but it's Diane Lane.
Oh, it's Diane Lane?
Yeah. I think you're just bleeding the two movies together.
I'm confusing the two movies.
But, I mean, Jessica Biel's worth a watch.
Mm-hmm.
She's pretty.
Mm-hmm. She is.
I mean, Freddie Prinze Jr., he's one of these guys that in real life, I bet I would adore this guy.
Yeah, seems like a good dude.
But very few of his movies that I'm just like, yeah, you really need to go see this.
Right.
And this is about a hotshot baseball player who can't stop fucking up or hanging around with fuck-ups. All I really remember is that this movie has Mark Blucas in it.
Oh, yeah.
who was Sarah Michelle Gellar's boyfriend on a season of Buffy.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
That's
And
right.
he reads a poem in this movie in a bar about how much he loves fat girls.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Anyway, also there may or may not be an upcoming Sins video with a reference to Mark Blucas in it that has nothing to do with Summer Catch.
I'm so glad that you were good with that.
Mark Blucas, there's something else that I think that's what it is. He's in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Oh.
He plays the Fred in the Scooby-Doo.
He does.
Yeah. I was like, I know there's another Scooby-Doo connection here.
And we just went back to save Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back again.
Yes, we did. And then finally you have The Way, Way Back, a great movie, by the way.
Is it really?
Yes.
I saw it. Remind me.
Sam Rockwell, summer job for a kid, and his stepdad is, well, not stepdad, but his mom, Toni Collette, is dating Steve Carell, and Steve Carell's a big asshole.
Yeah. Okay. I've
And
seen
it's a water park or whatever that
Yeah.
he's doing for summer. And he falls in love with the Anna Sophia Robb character, and it's like this, she's way older than he is and everything. But Sam Rockwell sort of steals this movie, like as the guy who's teaching him lessons and the coming of age and all that.
This is a whole subgenre of like Adventureland.
I was going to say, he's got the
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds role in this movie then.
Yeah, Adventureland, and then the to-do list that I was talking about with Aubrey
yeah.
Plaza. And then Bill Hader is playing the Ryan Reynolds character.
All right. Well, I'm sure we missed a few Massachusetts somewhere, but we went through we ran the gamut.
Let's talk
Sure
about
as
Boston Legal.
Yeah, let's talk about Boston Legal and Boston Practice.
No, this is fun. Like we like a lot of these movies
Mhm.
set in Massachusetts. So I think we did a pretty comprehensive job.
I think so. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week. Keep going to Facebook, the SinCast presented by CinemaSins Facebook. Keep going to Twitter. Keep going to SoundCloud. Give us comments on what you think about this episode. Again, we'll get to we'll get to mail, and we'll have a whole mailbag episode.
Yeah,
again,
we're gonna have
'cause we got
interesting
another
stuff coming up.
backlog of stuff. And our next episode will be very interesting.
That's
I
right.
think.
That's right.
So I'm very excited. We're gonna have a guest here.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have a guest.
Could be awesome.
Well, that'll do it for this week. It's Chris Atkins and Jeremy Scott and Barrett Sherrill. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Comment on our episodes on our SoundCloud page. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. And be sure to visit cinemasins.com.
Oh man, Rebecca Gayheart, man. Mhm.
She was in that
Urban
she
Legend.
was in that Biggest Smalls video. Biggest Smalls? Maybe not Biggest Smalls.
I don't know.
He's the one that's dead, right?
Yes.
The one that's I gotta think of this. Hang on. I got nothing but love for you. What you got? I got nothing but love for you. Yeah, whatever. Whoever
Oh.
sang that song, Rebecca Gayheart was in that.
I don't know.
By the way, it was not Biggie Smalls. It was Heavy D and the Boys.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Hey, both of those guys are heavy.
That's true. You like that Meghan Trainor song a lot, don't you?
Okay, so I don't like Meghan Trainor. I like making fun of Meghan Trainor.
Right.
I like that, like I'm Gonna Lose You song she did
That's
with
a
John
great one,
Legend. But most of her first album was not. It's not what I'm into.
No.
But I could see she's got talent.
Mm-hmm.
Like All About That Bass, I think wasn't that the song that took
Mhm.
her off? I could see why people like that. I just didn't.
Right.
But yeah, that I'm Gonna Let You Be Right song. I don't know. There's
It's
something about
poppy as shit,
when
man.
you give me the sugariest, most candy coated pop music with the right hook. I'm in, man.
Yeah.
I'm all the way in.
How's that song go?
I don't want to fight tonight, so I'ma let you be right. Let you be right.
It's got like a slappy,
Because
juicy.
I
bass line.
kind of like that one. They had the video for it for a really long time where you must have confused me
Oh, no
me with
excuses.
someone else.
Yeah.
You know?
This is exactly the same song, just with
Is
a
it?
better bass line.
Oh, okay.
Every time I see Sublime on satellite radio, it's goddamn Santeria. Every fucking time. I
I
can't
hate that
ever
song.
get my what I got.
Yeah.
It's always got to be Santeria.
I did hear No Doubt do a Sublime cover once, though.
Yeah.
Hmm.
hmm
I think I would be into that.
I somehow managed to see No Doubt 3 times in the 90s.
That's very interesting.
They were always opening for some other band that I went to go see.
They opened for Bush one time, right?
They may have. I'm not my. The time I went to go see Bush, it was Veruca Salt that opened.
Oh,
for
nice.
But I saw No Doubt. I think I saw a No Doubt 311 concert. I saw them. They were the headlining band for somebody else. I can't remember who it was. You know, it's one of those where you stay around afterwards. But like, it rained so hard. This was at the old Starwood Amphitheater and everything. It rained so hard that I was like drinking rainwater, and they actually ended you just stopped the concert because it was lightning and all sorts of stuff going on. So that was one of those. And they don't let you take umbrellas in. So you're just getting drenched and you're drinking the rainwater, and then you have to go out to your car and do that miserable fucking experience when you're going through Starwood.
It's the worst.
Parking apparatus.
I bet neither of you have seen anyone in concert more times than I've seen Petra.
How many times?
5 for sure.
Yeah, I definitely
That
haven't.
I definitely know for sure, but I think it's more like 7.
Wow.
Definitely have not seen a band more than 5 times.
Because I knew there was one album, Beyond Belief. I saw that tour 3 different times. Like I knew the set list. I kept saying to my buddy, "Wait till you get to the keyboard solo." Man. And I'm not even really making that much fun of myself because I loved it.
I remember them putting on a good show.
I mean, most of the bands that I went to see were, at least up until college, were Christian bands, and they all put on a good show. Whiteheart was my favorite.
I saw DC Talk live. They're good.
Yeah, as good as a rapper group can be live. Most rap is terrible live.
Look at this, man. Because when you pull up Massachusetts, like it'll show you all the stuff that's all the movies, and then it's film set in Boston. And then you do that. And then a subset of that is films based on the Scarlet Letter.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you were going to say Matt Damon films.
But yeah, there's 8 fucking Scarlet Letter movies.
Wow.
And then Easy A is on there too.
Does Easy A count?
Yeah, Easy A is on there too, but that was set in California.
Am I wrong? Is this the one where The Rock coaches like a kid prisoner football team or
You're
something?
not wrong.
Okay.